Good afternoon. This is Felicia Moore, President of the Atlanta City Council, welcoming you to our March 1st, 2021 full council meeting. So we will begin, Mr. Clerk, with our roll call, please.
Council President Felicia A. Moore.
Second.
Council members Post 1 at large Michael Julian Bond. Post 2 at large Matt Westmoreland.
Here.
Post 3 at large Andre Dickens.
Here.
Council District 1 Carla Smith.
Here.
Council District 2 Amir Faroki.
Here.
Council District 3 Antonio Brown.
Here.
Council District 4 Cleveland Winslow. Council District 5 Natalie Mosby Archibald.
Here.
Council District 6 Jennifer N. I.
Here.
Council District 7 Howard Shook.
Aye.
Council District 8 J.P. Matsakite.
Here.
Council District 9 Dustin Hillis.
Here.
Council District 10 Andrea L. Boone.
Present.
Council District 11 Marcy Collier Overstreet.
Present.
Council District 12 Joyce M. Shepherd.
Present.
Quorum present.
Is Mr. Bond on? I know
Yes.
Mr. Bond. Okay.
Hello?
Yes, we
Okay.
hear you now.
Okay, I must have been muted. Sorry.
No problem. Any other members joined us since the roll call? Okay, now we will move to the adoption of the agenda. We will have a committee of the whole with Committee on Council as well as a public hearing from CDHS Committee. And another item of note, Mr. Clerk.
Yes, Madam President, I have a public announcement. For the listening audience, please take note on page 2 of the published agenda. The committee page number index are off by 1 page, and they should be as follows: Zoning Committee on page 22, Transportation Committee on page 28, Finance Executive Committee on page 30, and Committee on Council on page 37. All other committee index numbers are correct. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved, Matsakite. Second.
Okay, we have a second by Bond, a motion by Matsakite. Just so that I can see who all is on the system, would you please open the vote on the adoption of the agenda with the items listed as amendments?
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Okay, Ms. Overstreet, how do you vote?
Affirmative.
Mr. Hillis?
Affirmative.
Mr. Shook?
Yeah, I'm not in yet. Affirmative.
Okay. Ms. Winslow? Mr. Dickens?
People
Here.
here up there. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. All votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. Populating vote. Populating votes.
Yes, and while we're populating votes, for those of you who are not online, if you're having difficulty, please text the staff so they can help you. We have several people that have not logged in. So if you can do so, we do have public comment, and so that will give you time to also get online. Thank you.
14 yeas, 0 nays.
14 yeas, 0 nays. The not consent agenda, although it says that, we have adopted the agenda with said changes. Thank you. So now we'll go to Remark. As we know, March is recognized as Women's History Month. There are many women, trailblazers of our past, our present, and young women of our future. I salute each and every one and thank you all for your tireless efforts as we celebrate contributions of women throughout the month of March. Cases of COVID are still high in Georgia, so the trend is spiraling downward, which is really great. But we have to remind everyone to please stay vigilant and following safety guidelines, washing your hands, wearing masks, social distancing, and avoid large and indoor gatherings. So now we go to a moment of silence, and this, I'm sure, touches many council members as well as myself on a personal note. While we are remembering the life of Haroon Shaheed Wakil, founder of the Street Groomers in Atlanta. He was an activist, an outspoken community member who would often provide public comment during council meetings and who had turned his life around for good and influenced others to do the same. Haroon touched a lot of lives and will be missed by many, including myself. We also like to send condolences to the life lost and well wishes to the dozen or so victims of gun violence over the weekend and the ones who lost their life. Gun violence is certainly plaguing our city, and for those who were injured and or killed, we send our well wishes and as well as our condolences. Condolences as well goes out to the family of the three brothers aged 21, 15, and 12 from Paulding County who died in a recent single-car accident. And continued prayers go out to all impacted by COVID-19. I will look at the speaker button to see if there are any members who would like to add to that list. Any members who are not on the system that would like to add to that list. Hearing none, let's enter into a moment of silence.
Madam Chair,
yes.
I thought I had my speaker button pushed. This is Councilmember Shepherd. I'd like to ask also as we put into our prayers a sister from West End who's very well known. She has a school called 8 City Heritage House, Sister Woody Person. She died last week, unfortunately death. But I would like for us to put her in the prayers. A lot of folks in the Black community know her. She had a good school. My daughter went there. My nephew went there. I went to some of her programs. Sister Woody Person. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none, let's go into a moment of silence on said name. Go to our invocation. We are joined today by Brittany Jones, Associate Leader, Passion City Church at 515 Garson Drive Northeast. Are you there?
Council President Moore. Thank you.
Yes.
I am here. Hi there. Thank you, Council
Hello.
President Moore, members of Council. It's a privilege to be here today. Thank you so much for the invitation. Would you bow your heads with me as I pray? Jesus, We honor you as the sovereign authority that you are. We thank you for Council President Moore and the men and women that you have appointed to this council. Thank you for loving us and inviting us to be a part of the story that you're writing in this city. Thank you for the specific gifts and passions you've equipped each of us with, enabling us to carry out the work that you've set before us. We praise you for the city of Atlanta and all of the ways that you are working in and through this council to promote peace, justice, and order. We humble ourselves beneath your mighty hand and call on heaven today, asking for your blessing and favor on today's agenda. Please cover Council President Moore and members of council with your favor and with your peace. Grant them supernatural wisdom, discernment, clarity, unity, and confidence as they govern and navigate the issues at hand. May they sense the provision of knowledge and understanding that only can come from you as they seek to serve the citizens of this city. I pray that you give them your eyes to see and your ears to hear, and that you would clothe them in your mercy and in your justice. In Jesus' name, we pray against any and every attempt from the enemy to distract, discourage, or delay today. And we ask that in kindness and in humility, your will would be done through this council. We trust you, God, and we know that you will accomplish every single purpose that you set forth to accomplish today. We pray that you would be glorified through every single bit of it. Thank you for using us and inviting us. We love you, Jesus, and we pray it in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Brittany Jones, and thank you for joining us today.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. So now, members, we will go to our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now we will go past our special recognition to our remarks by the public. Mr. Clerk, as I understand, members, and for the public, we have 41 comments for a total of 1 hour and 4 minutes. Mr. Clerk.
The public may leave a comment of their concerns the day before the scheduled meeting between the hours of 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. by dialing 404-330-6001. Public comments for the full council agenda shall not exceed 2 minutes. In addition, the Committee on Council will enter the Committee of the Whole, and the public may express their concerns for the committee meeting by dialing the designated number 404-330-6069. Messages for the Committee on Council shall not exceed 3 minutes. Mr. Massenberg.
Yes, my name is Harry St. Louis. I'm a member of Chihuahua Short-Term Rental Association. I am also a short-term owner. Wanted to provide some feedback around the value that I feel that my business brings to the community. First and foremost, it helps me in that it provides income for me to support my family. But secondly, short-term rentals, we've been able to provide housing to the frontline workers. In addition to that, in my place, I've had nurses that have stayed there. And also what we do provide value in that we help with the job market. We have cleaners that work for us. We have folks that take care of yard work for us as well. We have laundry service along the food line that we help through our business. Although it's short-term rental, it is still a business. And I think most importantly, from an economic perspective, our guests who comes to stay with us, we make recommendations to local restaurants And in light of what's been happening with COVID, that is huge. When people come and visit, that they go visit the restaurants. And so economically, short-term rentals do provide value to the community in terms of the folks that we are helping when they are traveling, providing another place to stay, but most importantly, economically, providing jobs. Again, I'll just reiterate that we have cleaners who come in to clean for us. We have a laundry service. We have yard work. We have maintenance folks. So it is a business that we're running. And it helps with job creation. And most importantly, the people that come and stay with us, they have an opportunity to come and go visit Atlanta and spend, at restaurants and different venues in the Atlanta metro area. So short-term rental is extremely important. I just want to make those comments so folks understand what it means. Me personally, as an owner, it's revenue for me, right? It helps me to feed my family, but also it helps to provide jobs as well. And overall, economically, it helps the Atlanta metro area. Just wanted to state that again. My name is Ali Santos. Thank you very much. Have a great day, bye-bye.
Yes, my name is Tig Nguyen. I'm calling regarding the city council member to consider voting yes on the bill 20-1656 to protect home sharing in Atlanta. I have been hosting over 2 years, and we have never had any problem. This is our main income. We rely on this to pay our bills. I'm self-employed, and I have 4 kids, and this is a very crucial part of my household. So we never have any problem with any guests. I always filter them, don't allow any party, and have never had any complaints for the past 2 years that we've been hosting at Airbnb. I feel like it's a great way for guests to come to Atlanta and experience Atlanta, get to explore Atlanta, and help out the city economic. And it's a great ways for families to come and travel and get to see new places and save money. Over the years, I've met so many great families, so many great guests, and totally enjoy the experience. So it's not all bad. We never had any bad experience in all the 2 years we've been hosting. So please consider us and vote yes. Thank you.
Greetings to you, council members and staff, and special greetings to you, citizens of Atlanta, monitoring your government in action in this election year. Ben Howard, Senior Advocate, Public Policy Analyst. At the heart of civic engagement in this city is the Neighborhood Planning Unit system. NPUR 9 was well aware of this when in 2013, they went to the Community Development and Human Resources Committee, now named the Community Development and Human Services Committee, to complain that NPUR residents would not attend the NPUR meetings because of Ben Howard and Ron Secure. The council members at that time went along with that fairy tale and created the 2 strikes you're out policy aimed at stifling the participation of public advocates such as Ben Howard and Ron Secure. Now, a decade and a half later, the NPUR 9 controls Neighborhood Planning Unit R meetings and ensures that the attendance at those meetings just barely exceeds 1% of the population of 20,000 citizens and stakeholders. 2% of the 20,000 residents will be 60 residents. It should not be too much to ask that the NPUR 9 set a 2021 goal of getting 60 residents and stakeholders to attend the monthly virtual meetings of Neighborhood Planning Unit R. So step up or step out. Vice Chair Anthony Robinson, Corliss Clare, Ricardo Jacobs, Alvin White, Renette L. Scott, Allison Hathaway, and you NPUR 9 cohorts and supporters, step up or get out.
Hi, my name is Mercedes Sylvester. My zip code is 30331. I'm calling to urge you guys to please let folks host through Airbnb. This is a great way for me to make residual income. Also, people come here to visit. They like Atlanta. They come here. They spend their money with you and with the city and myself. I'm a single mother. I have 2 children, and this has been very instrumental in keeping me afloat during COVID. So I just hope that you guys vote in favor of this bill. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Daryl Maxim, and I am a resident. Airbnb has helped me out tremendously. I am a disabled veteran, and what it has enabled me to do is to live on a fixed salary, or income, I should say, being a disabled vet. I want to make sure that Airbnb stays in place, short-term rentals, of course. Once again, helping me and my family out, especially during COVID time. I lost my job, of course, and Airbnb has tremendously helped. Thank you, and I'm pro Airbnb. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Todd Hyde. I'm calling on behalf of Bill 20-0-1656. I currently own a short-term rental in Atlanta, in the Virginia Highlands area. I'm calling to urge my city council member to vote yes on the short-term rental. I'm a healthcare worker myself, and we try our best to bring in other healthcare workers from all over to help with the CDC to fight this pandemic. We've had a lot of healthcare workers stay with us, and we plan to continue to do this in the future. We hope that our city council member will vote yes on Bill 20-0-1656. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Robin Clow. My comments are regarding the short-term rental regulations being proposed tomorrow. I live in Home Park and I own a house, and the FCR legislation as it is written is not good for Home Park. It favors developers and short-term rental platforms, not neighborhoods and residents. Please do not vote on this legislation until it can be studied further and amended with a Home Park overlay. Thank you so much for your consideration from a 25-year resident and homeowner.
This comment is in reference to the legislation for short-term rentals, 20-0-1656. This proposed legislation is anti-in-town residents, and it is clearly benefits short-term rentals in the industry. You need to strike a better balance, and you need to look for something that's going to protect existing in-town residential neighborhoods and not allow commercial development to implant itself and drive down property values and drive out residents that live in town. You represent us. You were hired for us. Represent us. You were not hired to go ahead and represent commercial conglomerates that are seeking to overturn the residential way of life in the city of Atlanta for profit. Thank you.
Hello, this is Corey Price. I'm calling on Bill 20-0-1656 to protect home sharing in Atlanta. I'm currently a home sharer over here in Westview, Georgia. And I only allow people to come into my location if they're coming for work, coming for just like a vacation in the city. I have never had parties in my location. I always let people know there's no parties. We're still in the middle of a pandemic, so if you're coming here for business or just a little vacate, we've all been, social distancing and at home for a while, and some people need to get away. So I'm one of those people, one of those hosts. I don't get into all of that other stuff as far as like parties and different things like that, because I'm very aware of what's going on in the world, and I try to protect the people that stay in my location, and I want them to protect the other people that come after them. So I take a lot of precautions with my location. I have housekeeping, sanitation, all of that type of stuff. So I just want you to know that there are people like us that have Airbnbs here in Atlanta, Georgia, city limits, and we are trying to make sure we're aware and take the proper precautions. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Alika Hyde, and I'm calling to comment on Bill 20-0-1656 to urge my City Council member to vote yes on this bill. I am a responsible owner of a short-term rental home in the Atlanta area, specifically the Virginia Highlands neighborhood. My short-term rental has allowed me to be able to provide funds to send my child to daycare, where normally I would not have been able to afford this option and would have to have quit my job in order to stay home and be a stay-at-home mom. So it has made a huge impact on our lives personally for us to be able to do this for our family. We also live in a neighborhood that, as a result of the pandemic and even prior, so the businesses around the Virginia Highlands area have been struggling for some time now for various reasons. Our short-term rental is just one block from a commercial district of struggling boutiques and businesses, and a majority of the people that come and stay with us are just from outside of Atlanta, maybe, an hour outside of Atlanta, and they come to dine at these establishments. They come to shop at the clothing boutiques and spend time in the downtown area and in the Virginia Highlands area and spend money and keep these businesses afloat. And so this has not only been a huge positive contribution to our lives personally, but also the neighborhood around us. We are responsible. We vet our guests and ensure that we're not allowing any unlawful activity to happen within our short-term rental. We abide by all the rules of our neighborhood, and we'll continue doing so, as far as making sure we have a permit maintained and whatever else is asked of us. So we urge our City Council member to please vote yes on Bill 20-0-1656 to protect home sharing in Atlanta. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kathy McClure. I'm a retired attorney. I'm 66 years old. My husband is 72, and we own a duplex in Piedmont Heights that we've operated since 2016. We've owned this property since 2004. Our short-term rental is an important retirement income earning endeavor for us. We depend on this income. We are responsible hosts. Since 2016, we have not had a single complaint from our neighbors, all of whom are completely aware that the property is rented short-term. We support the ordinance 20-0-1656 as an important first step in regulating short-term rental in Atlanta. I want to stress that short-term rentals are an economic engine serving the city and its citizens. COVID has changed the world, and that applies to short-term rental in Atlanta as well. Short-term rentals in Atlanta are a haven for families visiting families, as they are for business customers as we see the business community come back to life. One of my most recent guests is a developer of affordable housing who's working directly with the mayor on affordable housing in Atlanta. He loved staying in our place in our wonderful neighborhood in Piedmont Heights, cooking meals in his home, ordering takeout, spending guest dollars on our community here. So our guest dollars support the excellent, they support the food, the restaurants here. They're maintaining, trying to hang on through COVID. They support our excellent cleaner who depends on our income each year to support her family. our yard man, our contractor, our subcontractors who completely renovated our property. Please pass 20-0-1656. Atlanta should be friendly to short-term rental. There is a lot to be gained here. Regulation is inevitable, but it needs to be reasonable, and this legislation is reasonable. I'm completely comfortable with it. Thank you for listening to my comment this evening.
Hi, my name is Lawrence Friedman. I sent this via email, but I also wanted to call to register my thoughts on short-term rental ordinance. We live in Home Park. We've been here for 10 to 15 years, and over the time, recently, we've noticed a significant increase in SRTs. Along with that, we've also noticed that there are issues with non-primary residence short-term rentals that usually show themselves in party houses, nuisance complaints, noise issues. And seeing as the residents don't live there, there's very little concern of theirs to address the issues. So I wanted to mention that other issues with SRT, especially when you have no proliferation, are you have overdevelopment, you have displacement of residents, both from property taxes increasing, rents increasing, along with the general destabilization and lowering quality of a neighborhood. We already have a lot of short-term rentals, and I think there needs to be a way to regulate them stronger, and more importantly, to focus on regulating the non-primary residents. I personally don't have a problem with people who want to rent out or run their house and such, because it's a good way for everyone to make a little bit of money with that spare room. But those types of situations seldom cause the issues that are most negatively associated with short-term rentals. I think there needs to be, and I know Home Park is going to submit the actual numbers, but I think there needs to be a cap on the number of short-term rentals per property, the number of short-term rentals allowed in a neighborhood. We already have something like 70 of them, and that's a lot of short-term rentals for a small neighborhood like Home Park. Beyond that, I think that any listing company, and there are like 50 or so different listing websites, needs to register with the city and provide a detailed report on all of the short-term rentals, because I don't believe the city even knows the total number of short-term rentals in there that are going on in the city. I think you guys have to estimate between 1,000 and 6,000, even for the fee study for this ordinance. That's way too much of a variable. So I think that any listing company needs to provide detailed reports of the extent of their short-term rentals. I think there needs to be a way to hold
My name is Natalie Colbert. I am calling today to urge the City Council to vote yes on Bill 20-01656 to protect home sharing in Atlanta. The house that I have is in Florida Heights, and it's much more than its four walls and fixtures. It's the home my parents bought in 1960 and raised my brother and me. It's the home where my father, a postal worker, put in hard work to repair and maintain. It's the home where my mother gave us a strong spiritual foundation. And it's also the home where my husband and I temporarily lived as young adults while working as teachers in the Atlanta Public School. To me, this home carries the legacy of my parents and their generation as one of the many homes in Atlanta owned by African-American families. Now I share this home with Airbnb guests. This adapted use brings me so much joy and the opportunity to share my parents' legacy with these visitors. 1 year after my parents passed, I was searching for a way to hold on to their home
My daughter's friend introduced me to Airbnb. I had repairs done, decorated the house, keeping my parents' furniture, some of it, and then listed it on Airbnb, and we hosted our first guest in March 2018. And before the pandemic, we had visitors in town for vacations, family reunions, family graduations from the local HBCUs, and people for medical treatment. The people that stayed at the home liked it because they could cook their meals and relax in the living room. Renting on a short-term basis gives me the flexibility I need to earn the money to maintain the home, while also being able to enjoy the home with my family when I want to. But mainly, it gives me the ability to retain a generational home in an increasingly changing city and one day pass down this important part of my history to my children. There are many stories like this in Atlanta, and our city leaders have discussed regulating short-term rentals over the past years. I am encouraged by a proposal that would require rental owners to pay a $150 certificate fee, collect hotel motel taxes from the guests, and provide 24-hour contact information should guests, neighbors, or others need to reach them. This is highly reasonable. Additionally, the proposal includes a three-strike system to warn and penalize any irresponsible operators. Please protect home sharing in Atlanta. These are sensible rules, and all residents deserve a viable way to make meaningful income to retain our homes in our communities and maintain those properties. I urge Mayor Bottoms and the council.
Hi, my name is Claudia Carter, and I am an Atlanta Fulton County resident. The reason I'm calling is the meeting being held tomorrow about Airbnb. I am calling in support of Airbnb. It has brought great things to the city. A lot of people usually come shop local, and many of these guests are looking for stopgap housing, and as a result, stay longer than expected and even come back and live here in the city. We also get a lot of people in the film industry that use Airbnb. And overall, I've seen nothing but benefits in my neighborhood from it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. This is Dale Lee. I live in Elmwood Park here in Atlanta. I've lived here for almost 30 years, and I have a house next door which I renovated, which was a rental and run down into an Airbnb. I have been an Airbnb host for 4 years, going on my 5th year, and I have talked to all my neighbors, and no one has ever had any complaints from anyone except one time, and it was a daytime noise thing. So I carefully screen. I talk to the neighbors and occasionally and make sure. And one of the main things is the neighbors use it a lot because the houses are small and there's no hotels nearby. And so most of the people that use it for family and visitors to come stay. And I feel like I'm providing something for the community. Again, I have not had any complaints, and most of my neighbors support it. And I would like to support the referendum that allows to keep them, the short-term rentals, and with some regulation. And I think that is appropriate and acceptable. Thank you very much. And I hope you will support keeping short-term rentals for great people like me that live in wonderful neighborhoods that really use it and value it. As a 5-star superhost on Airbnb for 4 years, I have a lot of support from the community. Thank you again, Dale Lee.
Hi, my name is Shelton Croxton. I am a current Airbnb host. I own a home in Vine City. And I just thought it was appropriate for me to share my story on It's just number one, the importance of voting for the STR, Airbnb, or short-term vacation rental bill. I think it's been absolutely vital, not just for the city, but also the area that we are hosting. I've owned that property now for going on, golly, it's been well over 10 years, and for quite some time, certainly had some struggles with, whether it be living there or, renting it out just on a long-term basis. But, the moment that we became Airbnb hosts, we had the opportunity to make some investments to improve the property. We've seen some of our neighbors have sort of seen the upkeep that we've made to our own property, and others have made some investments into their own homes as well, and just changing sort of the dynamic of the block. That's been the first thing, but certainly it's also been just the income that has been driven from that has benefited us, particularly during the pandemic when you have, it's been the struggle, as being a business owner, but just anything in general, and have that be another stream that's able to uplift us while still make the kind of impact that we wanted to make to the neighborhood and to the home specifically has been absolutely huge. We have a lot of people that come from out of town that make huge investments and, spend money there in the local community, particularly there in Vine City and other areas. And so it's been huge. And to be able to have this kind of bill, which I personally think is incredibly reasonable, to ensure that you have responsible hosts that are doing the best thing that they can to maintain the upkeep of their homes, but also the neighborhood. I totally get it. I have an appreciation for what the council has done, and I'm urging the council to vote in favor of this bill. So I want to say thank you for all of your hard work and your dedication, and we'll continue to be great hosts and great members of the Atlanta community. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Take care.
Hi, this is Christina Hudson. I'm calling about Bill 20-1656, Airbnb in the city of Atlanta. I've been a host since 2015. I'm a single mother of 3. This has given me a way to care for my home, my primary residence that I live in and host, and in a way that I otherwise would not have been able to. I'm able to make improvements to the home. I hire people from the community to help me clean, to help me do the yard. Also, I bring in residents from all over the world to come to the area of Midtown and eat in our restaurants, shop in our stores, spend money in our city. Thank you very much. Bye.
Hello, this is Melanie Croston, resident and homeowner and host through Airbnb Vine City. We are in favor of keeping our hosts here in the city. We really wanted to encourage our council members to vote yes on Bill 20-1656. We have been able to employ 4 individuals, keep our homes preventing foreclosure, and we have had a really great experience as hosts. It would mean a lot to us. Thank you. Have a great day.
Giving out to the Spirit of Christ, my name is Henri Jordan. For their heart studieth destruction, and their lips talk of mischief. Proverbs 24, chapter 2nd verse. Destruction means a cause of someone's ruin. Mischief means a person responsible for harm or annoyance. James Montgomery is proven to have destructive and mischievous behavior toward me. These actions lead to death. As Babylon has caused the slain of Israel to fall, so at Babylon shall fall the slain of all the earth. Jeremiah 51st, chapter 49th verse. God is saying, you reap what you sow. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountain. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. Jeremiah 50, chapter 6 verse. All we are compared to sheep gone astray, to illustrate the desperate condition of mankind, lost without a shepherd. That they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but have pleasure in unrighteousness. 2 Thessalonians, 2nd chapter 12 verse. In the flesh means before we were saved. When you seek to be saved, you seek to crucify the flesh and glorify Jesus. Christ created income, create Christ-like men to be Christ-like husbands, Christ-like women, and Christ-like children. Not to serve people's flesh, but to serve their souls, to be saved through the power of Christ. Thank you for listening. Obey Jesus.
Hi, my name is Brittany Ducatel, and I am responding to the short-term rental challenge, the City Atlanta Ordinance 20-1656. I wanted to call because I have been hosting short-term rentals at my house in Peachtree Hills in Buckhead for 2 years. We host a multitude of people, families from our neighborhood, families coming from the Shepherd Center, families recovering from cancer, helping their family members with cancer. We already pay about $10,000 in taxes as a multifamily, and you're asking us to pay something additional. The income that we generate from Airbnb allows us to put money back into our house, allows us to put money back into our property, and we are very attentive to all of our neighbors. We have worked very hard to keep up this Airbnb, and we already pay taxes through Airbnb. And because of regulations you implemented, we lost 3 months of income through our rental property. Renting our home is a right. We are already zoned as a multifamily. I don't know how you could tax us additionally in accordance to the $10,000 that you already taxed us. That's all I have to say. I don't agree with this. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
My name is Ramona Benson. I'm calling regarding Bill 1656. I'm encouraging my city council members to vote yes to protect home sharing in Atlanta. Home sharing in Atlanta is a way to make income for individuals who are dislocated or just lost their jobs in other forms of fashion. And, I get that it can be a hindrance to neighbors if we're not responsible. But as a homeowner that does do a rental, an Airbnb, I'm very responsible about the length of stays and ensuring that my guests do not interrupt with neighbors. Please consider continuing this and vote yes on Bill 200-1656. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Anthony Williams. I have approximately 10 short-term rental units in the city of Atlanta, and we do a lot. I just kind of want to put my comments in about what we do and how we kind of help the economy and the local government. As far as me, I have a lot of different associations and collaborative effort with local restaurants in my area. I always kind of meet with my guests and tell them local restaurants and things in the area to do that kind of help stimulate our economy. I also do many things with essential workers. So essential workers come into town and I accommodate them, make sure they're put up, and also help kind of stimulate that economy with spending money within the city of Atlanta. We do a lot of things with jobs. Like I have approximately about 15 different workers and small business people that work with my company, and I pay them off. So that helps the city of Atlanta get more taxes, get more revenue into it. So really want to kind of highlight, all the benefits there is with short-term rental and making sure that we're still a viable business for all, because it's not just the people who run the business, it's a lot of people who work and are substitutes of it that make this really worthwhile for the city of Atlanta to encourage this kind of business done correctly. And as far as the film industry, actually I have a big film being filmed at one of my bigger 9-bedroom houses. They came out of LA, they didn't want to stay in hotels, so they've been in my property for approximately about 45 days now. And they're here to shoot a video and shoot whatever movie they're doing. That kind of helps all of us. They're here, they're shopping locally, they're shopping in Atlanta, they're spending money here, they're here for 45 days. So it's a big deal to really make sure that we get this ordinance right, and we make sure it's fair to not only the neighborhood, but to the people who are kind of helping, bring more business and keep business in the city. Thank you very much. My name is Anthony Williams. I appreciate you guys doing the right thing and making sure short-term rental is a viable situation for here and from now on in the city of Atlanta. Thank you, Bob.
Hello, my name is Jamaica Long, and I'm a member of Sharaga. I own a short-term rental company, and I was just calling in regards to letting the city of Atlanta know that I work hand in hand with the local restaurants. I actually provide discounted rates to my guests for the local restaurant. So with that being said, we as a community work hand in hand, and I would like it if you guys would please consider keeping short-term rentals around, because it helps me feed my family as well as the local restaurants around the city able to feed their family as well. So I just would like to say, please do not shut down short-term rentals, and thank you for your consideration. Bye.
Hi, my name is Lisa Robertson. I'm calling to express that I'm against any ban on short-term rentals such as Airbnb and VRBO. I don't have an issue with regulating them through reasonable STR regulation, but I am against them being banned altogether. I myself have 3 short-term rentals that I know of that are within a block of my house. I've used 2 of them for my family when they come to visit. We don't have any place that they can stay with us, and some of our relatives are elderly and hotels are difficult in that regard. And so it's nice to be able to have some place close by where they can stay. We haven't had any problems with any of the 3 short-term rentals around us. And so I think just taking a broad stroke and banning them all together is short-sighted and unfair to those of us who have neighbors who are do a good job of managing their properties. I hope you'll take my comments into consideration when you consider how to act on these short-term rentals, but I think an all-out ban is the wrong way to go in regard to this. Thank you for listening to my comments. Bye-bye.
My name is Fran Godwin. My husband and I own a couple of properties in downtown Atlanta that we use for short-term rentals. In 2020, I had to retire, and my husband is just a few months behind me now. Our short-term rental income is helping make our retirement possible. Many people look for ways to supplement their Social Security and pensions, and we found that our 3 properties do help bridge the gap. Airbnb provides really good guidance for us to be hosts. They teach us cleaning protocols and ways of making it safe for us to have guests. And the guests like having their own environment. They like cooking in their own kitchens and being able to keep their entire families together. Airbnb is definitely a niche that many people are looking for here in Atlanta. Our building has gone to great lengths to make sure that we're following the rules and the laws of the city. We have many concierges that work together, as well as off-duty police officers. I ask that you don't penalize those of us who do follow the rules for a few people that don't follow the rules. You can compare it to the short-term rentals to the drag racers in downtown Atlanta. We don't ban driving cars because there are a few problems. We address those problems and take care of punish the guilty. I hope you're going to do the same when it comes to the violators of short-term rentals. Take care of just those that cause the problems and allow those of us that do follow the rules to continue on providing this niche that many travelers are looking for. This has been a tough last year because of COVID, and I know that many of you here in the government have a lot of problems that you need to be addressing. We appreciate your time and your effort and hope that you will take the opportunity to keep short-term rentals here in Atlanta for us as we provide this as an option for so many people who travel. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Haley Alley, and I am calling with regards to Bill 20-0-1656, wanting as a citizen to please say yes to the bill for 20-0-1656 to protect home sharing in Atlanta. I am currently an Airbnb host with my husband, and we have a beautiful Airbnb in the Virginia Highlands neighborhood, and we've had it now for about 2 years, and it's been a major part of our livelihood. We've never had any issue to have had really respectable guests staying at our Airbnb. This has given me a great opportunity with flexibility to be able to be home with my 2 kids. And it has definitely seen us through the pandemic as well, where my husband's salary was cut. So the Airbnb has allowed us to successfully pay for our mortgage on time every month. It also, helps to carry our utility bills as well. And just want to say we've never had to, have any calls whatsoever to the police or anyone for noise disturbance or any sort of misconduct or anything. So we would just really like to protect this bill and hope that it can be passed to protect us as homeowners and Airbnb hosts to continue having our Airbnb so that we can just continue to be part of the community and really continue to thrive in our neighborhood as hosts. And our guests come, we've had great experiences, and they're able to just be and share in a part of the Atlanta culture and help the businesses here in Atlanta as well. So we vote yes to please passing the bill to home sharing in Atlanta.
Hi, my name is Kathy Bomer. I'm president of the Home Park Community Improvement Association. I'm calling on behalf of many of my neighbors regarding the proposed ordinance 20-0-1656 on short-term rentals. In a nutshell, we feel that this is still nowhere near where it needs to be to protect the residents in our zoned neighborhoods, especially Home Park. We are seeing a proliferation of purpose-built, non-primary resident short-term rentals and renovations of existing homes for non-primary resident short-term rentals in our neighborhood. We have over 70 of them, and there's no end in sight. There's one developer who's decided this is his sandbox, and he's going to build as many of them as he possibly can. And most of his clients don't even live in the state of Georgia. We would like you to. I had sent comments to a number of the councilmen, including our own Antonio Brown. We would like you to please consider our comments that we have made and consider an overlay for our neighborhood to cap the number of non-primary residential short-term rentals in our neighborhood. We also have a number of concerns about the fact that this legislation basically is going to take away a lot of affordable housing. It's going to take them off the market so that those homes can be used basically by transients. And we're also concerned about the fact that these are all de facto hotels, these non-primary residential STRs. They're de facto hotels. They are businesses that are popping up alongside our R5 zoned homes, and that is not good for our neighborhood or for any neighborhood really. So please take into consideration our concerns. Please take more time to review this legislation and to make it so that it benefits the residents of the city of Atlanta rather than the short-term rental platforms such as Airbnb. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tajay Mills. I'm a member of Straw Area. My family and I operate Airbnbs in the Atlanta area, specifically in the city of Atlanta. But not only are we providing accommodation to visitors and guests that come to Atlanta, we also assist first responders as well as supply our guests with different chefs. We're creating jobs through having our cleaners. Right now, we operate about 13 in Georgia total, and it's a tremendous asset to the city. Definitely bringing in more jobs from each person who decides to dive into this industry, and it's something that should definitely be kept around. It's definitely something that's great for the city and definitely helps build the city up. Not only bringing in new people, but bringing in different industries. We also support and get guests who, if in some situation maybe their house is burned down or some kind of situation like that, we also provide housing for them as well through different insurance companies, working with them. So definitely something that we should keep going and something that we should keep in the city of Atlanta. Thank you.
Hello, this is Laura Clemens. I'm a member of the Short-Term Renter Owners Association of Georgia. I'm also a small business owner in Atlanta that caters to small-term renter guests. I guess you could say I'm a concierge for them. I support them with finding restaurants that are close to them, activities that they can do in Atlanta and the state of Georgia while they're visiting, the best shopping and boutiques to shop at or in their area. The amount of money that is spent in Atlanta by short-term renters is actually amazing and probably unbelievable if people would really know the amount. And it makes me happy that guests get so excited about visiting our beautiful city. Atlanta has always been a city that has been welcomed by all walks of life. Since the 96 Olympics, Atlanta has been on many people's bucket list of places that they wanted to come and visit. With the paradigm shift of how people want to travel, I've seen even more visitors come. I have asked several people if they would still come if they were not able to rent a house. I cannot believe how many said no, that they would just go on to the next city that's on their list. It makes me sad that this city could lose welcoming this and becoming the city that everybody wants to visit. And it also saddens me that we may be turning our backs on people that make a living, from cleaners to maintenance to management to restaurants to shopping centers to the movie business to the entertainment business and professional sports teams, as many of our homes are actually occupied by people that would come in for sporting events. I understand the hotel business is frustrated. What's funny is a few years ago, I was in a retail business and I, was upset with Amazon, but the government did not step in or could not step in and shut Amazon down when the brick and mortar retailers were suffering and malls were finding themselves in a situation to rethink how they did business. I would challenge that with the hotel industry now. What's funny is a few months ago, I tried to get a reservation for somebody that was coming in on business. They wanted to stay downtown Atlanta, and I could not find one hotel that had a reservation or an opening. So I do feel that the hotels are still getting what they need as well. Thank you for listening, and I'm confident that as the city of Atlanta, we'll do the right thing. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mayra Wayne, and I would like to ask the City Council members to vote yes on the bill 20-1656 to protect the home sharing in Atlanta. This is a very important bill for us. My family, my husband and I spend all our life savings and invest into the Airbnb community. We have 5 different Airbnbs in Atlanta, and that's a very crucial income for our household. We understand the concern for the community, but we do help and we work hard to make sure that people that come to our house are people that are not going to have parties or people that are going to bring violence or bring other problems to the community. We do filter our guests. We do ask them to provide their IDs. We also check and see where they're coming from. We do not encourage any parties. We don't even encourage smoking. We do prefer families that come with children, when they come to visit Atlanta. We try our best to show them what Atlanta has for them and what we can provide as a host. And if the city comes to now protect the home sharing in Atlanta, that will be a problem for our household. We are self-employed right now, and we were able to survive through the pandemic. So we appreciate you consider us as a family, as investors, and as a business, because we do care for the community, and we always try our best to not bring any problems into the house.
We have Airbnbs, and we've been doing it for 3.5 years, and we never have any problem. The neighbors never call police. We never have our houses destroyed because we are working tirelessly to make sure this will not happen to our community. So please protect the bill and protect home sharing in Atlanta. Thank you.
My name is Donald McIntosh, and I'm calling, urging our city council member to please vote yes on Bill 20-0-1656. My wife and myself, we are owners of an Airbnb here in Atlanta, and our response from our guests has been nothing but exceptional. Our neighbors love it, right, because we don't facilitate any parties and large gatherings. Really, we just accommodate for, families and, professionals who are interested in coming into Atlanta to, whether it be to relocate or it be for business, to come and have somewhere homey to stay. And that is what we provide for our guests. So far it has been remarkable. Our feedback has been great. We've received 5 stars all around. We have people who are saying, hey, whenever they're coming back, they're looking to go back with us and provide discounts. But it's remarkable. And I can tell you, it helps out, financially for my wife and myself, a whole lot. Right? She works retail, and back when the pandemic hit, her hours were cut, and even now it's still not back to normal. And this has actually, supplemented it. We have 2 young kids that we still have to provide for. And if it was not for this, to be honest, I don't know what we would have, done to make it through, to be able to bounce back. And so please, it is that we urge you to please vote yes on this bill, to please allow us to continue hosting in Atlanta. The guests love it. We love it. Our neighbors love it. And it's just remarkable feedback so far. All right. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Adrian Brooks, and I'm leaving a message for the council to vote yes in favor of short-term rentals here in Atlanta, Georgia. It has really meant a lot for me and my wife to be able to provide housing for frontline workers and medical professionals, especially with my wife being one of them. It's really had an impact on my life to be able to provide those things and resources for those workers in order to get, COVID-19 under control. It's had a huge impact on my life. And I'm just looking forward to you guys considering our opinion. Thank you so much.
This is Michael Jones. Please vote yes on Bill 20-0-1656. And please protect my home sharing in Atlanta. It's helping my family survive. And we need you to pull through for us, as many other families do. Thank you. You'll have my vote if you give me your vote.
Yes, my name is Tennille Johnson. I'm calling in regards to Airbnb in favor to protect hosts such as myself. I'm calling just to let you know, as far as Airbnb is concerned, it's not just for partying. I have a lot of guests that I host who come into town. They're students that like to stay for the semester instead of staying on campus. They want somewhere affordable where they can stay for an extended period of time. I've also had several first responders stay in the area due to a lot of the hospitals around and a lot of nurses relocating. I've also had plenty of actors come into town, and they have parts that they audition for or stay for an extended period of time because they have a movie that they're shooting. So it's not just for party. There's a lot of misconceptions upon what Airbnb is used for, but a lot of people that do come that I host stay for an extended period of time, not just for the weekend, in which that's what I particularly target. So you definitely want to look into favor that you also have a lot of people that come from out of town that are relocating to the city, and they need a temporary place to stay until they find somewhere of their own. So please, look into what Airbnb is all about. It's not into like a lot of parties. There's a lot of responsible hosts out here, such as myself, that are opening up their homes to people that would like to stay in a longer period of stay, not just, a hotel. So thank you again, and please consider that for the city as far as the revenue that it actually brings into the citizens that live in the city. Thank you.
I am Brother Anthony Muhammad. I call on the consciousness, let you know. I call on the spiritual consciousness of the Atlanta City Council. I call on Miss Overstreet, Miss Moore, Miss Teacher Lance Bottom and Matt. We have a problem with a septic tank that has been violating district level houses of 10 of your constituency in District 11. We have raw sewage coming out of the ground, going into a free-flowing stream around the houses of 10 people. And we have this person that is not willing and able to repair her septic tank. But yet we can find resources to put cameras in the sky because of the wrongdoing of people down in Atlanta Square, carbonated need, money, young, dark need. We have a lot of workforce development. Millions of dollars have been appropriated. Federal government give you grants. You don't even take the money to try to train the young men, teach the young men. Jails full. People's homeless. You don't even reach out and walk out. That is the people work on a lot of workforce. You could teach them how to be accessible and work and do something for themselves. Mr. Westmore and Mr. Pewoki has said, you have hospitality jobs that are unavailable. You only have people going and ask. But now, you would take millions of dollars to buy these cameras, but you won't aid this woman who has a septic tank that is literally coming up out of the ground and overflowing into the free-flowing stream. We have a free-flowing stream of water from county lines to Camp-Free Lake. Will you please, Miss Lane, Miss Moore, members of the Atlanta City Council, be sympathetic, be empathetic for the benefit of aid this senior. We have people that have suffered for 400 years, ex-slaves. You got a president who help the LGBT, help everyone, the immigrants, but you won't even help a woman right here in Atlanta and have access to research to fix her septic tank. This is Brother Anthony Muhammad. I greet you, my patriarch, hotel. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, hi, my name is Tina Maudsley, and I'm calling asking the council to vote yes on the Airbnb resolution 20-0-1656. I was told to call and share my story. I was affected by, like many others, the COVID situation last year and was laid off from my job for almost 6 months. And my Airbnb rental kept me going and enabled me to survive during a very tough time. The experience has been wonderful for me hosting for the past 5 years. I usually only host 1 or 2 people at a time, and they're usually in the film business or grandparents coming to visit their first grandkids. And I know that it puts a lot of money back into the economy because they eat locally at the restaurants that I leave menus in my house and visit other establishments in the neighborhood. I've never had one complaint from my neighbors ever because my guests are all very much adult and I screen to ensure that it's a good process for everyone involved. And I hope that I can continue to do this. I really love it. I lost my husband 7 years ago, and this is something that I've done to kind of keep me going, not just as a way to help with income, but also to just, have another purpose. So I really do enjoy hosting. I love meeting new people, and I love the fact that it is a nice journey and path. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Greg Zymek. I live in the Ansley Park neighborhood of the city of Atlanta, and I'm calling to express my support and ask the city council to also support the passage of the short-term rental proposed ordinance. Short-term rentals provide a meaningful alternative to traditional hotel lodging. Short-term rentals contribute to the economic vitality of the city in many different ways. For instance, guests staying in short-term rentals support small businesses through dining at restaurants, visiting various museums, and purchasing tickets to attend various events. During the tough economic times that we've all had recently due to COVID, we need to do all we can to support local businesses by encouraging visitors to come to Atlanta and enjoy the wonderful city we all call home. The money that they spend in the city will help businesses continue to stay open, people to stay employed, and those businesses to recover faster than if short-term rentals were not an option to accommodate their stay. In closing, I ask the city to continue to support short-term rentals and pass the short-term rental proposed ordinance. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Stephen Dragos. I own a duplex at 255 Howard Street Northeast in the Kirkwood neighborhood. We do operate one side of the duplex as a rental under the Airbnb platform. I would encourage council to support Bill 20-0-1656. Thank you.
Wanting to do that too?
Hi, my name is John Hoyer, and I need I vote for Airbnb to stay productive and compliant with the city of Atlanta. I depend on it for my income to pay my monthly bills. Please do not outlaw Airbnb. Okay, please do not outlaw. Thank you very much.
Hello, this is David and Michelle. We're calling about the Airbnb proposed legislation, if you will. I just wanted to say that my wife and I, we've been Airbnb operators in Atlanta, and I tell you, it's changed our lives. I mean, it's basically our livelihood. We've been a blessing to every guest. I mean, since we've been doing it, we've had consistent 5-star ratings. Guests have said it's just made the trip to Atlanta simply awesome just because of the accommodation. So, and I think to prohibit Airbnbs in Atlanta would really harm the professional entrepreneurs and business people such as my wife and I and other responsible operators. And would also do a disservice to some of the people, more importantly, to the visitors that come to our lovely city. So I want to hope that the council will continue to support Airbnbs in Atlanta for those very reasons, the positive experience of our visitors to the city, and for the operators that is there because their livelihood. So thank you very much.
Okay, that ends our public comment, and we are now back. I would like to thank the public for participating in our meeting and sharing your comments with us. So now we go to the report of the journal. Mr. Clerk.
I, Forrest Webb III, Municipal Clerk, do certify that the action minutes of the February 15, 2021 virtual City Council meeting are true and correct.
All right. Without objection, we will accept and file the report of the journal. Communications.
Madam President, if I could file items 1 and 2 as a block.
Proceed.
21-C-0023, a communication from Mayor Keisha Lance Bottom appointing Mr. Roderick Smith to serve as the fire chief for the City of Atlanta's Fire Rescue Department. 21-C-0024, a communication from Council President Felicia A. Moore appointing Ms. Courtney Smith to serve as a member of the Alcohol Technical Advisory Group. 3, staff recommendation to refer to Public Safety and Legal Administration and Committee on Council.
Let it follow that course.
If I could sound items 3 and 4 as a block as well.
Proceed.
21-C-0025, a communication from Tanya Greer, County Clerk, to the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, submitting the reappointment of Ms. Catherine Houseman to the Atlanta Beltline Tax Allocation District Advisory Committee. This appointment is for a term of 2 years to begin retroactively December 4th, 2020 and expire December 3rd, 2022. 21-C-0026, a communication from Tanya Greer, County Clerk, to the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, submitting the reappointment of Mr. Gabriel Sterling to the Atlanta Beltline Tax Allocation District Advisory Committee. This appointment is for a term of 2 years to begin retroactively February 18th, 2021 and expire February 17th, 2023. Staff recommendation to refer to Community Development and Human Services Committee and Committee on Council.
Let it follow that course.
And if I can sound the last 2 items as a block as well, Madam President.
Sure, proceed.
21-C-0027, a communication from Chief Procurement Officer Martin Clark, submitting the February 8th, 2021 through February 12th, 2021 weekly contracts report. 21-C-0028, submitting the February 15th, 2021 through February 19th, 2021 weekly contracts report to the Atlanta City Council and the Clerk of Council pursuant to Section 2-1142 of the Atlanta City Code of Ordinances. Staff recommendation to accept and file both.
Okay. Staff recommendation is to accept and file. Entertain a motion to accept and file.
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
Motion by Massacre, second by Bond, to accept and file. On unanimous consent of members present, if there's no objection, they are accepted and filed. So now we will go to consideration. Yes?
Unanimous consent is 14 yeas, 0 nays, Madam President.
Thank you. 14 yeas, 0 nays. It is accepted and filed. We'll now go to consideration of vetoed legislation, Mr. Clerk.
There is none, Madam President.
Unfinished business.
There is none.
Great. Now we're on consent agenda section 1. Section 1, if anyone has items they would like to remove from the consent agenda, please indicate with your speaker button. The consent agenda items are items that have gone through committee and have received unanimous consideration from the committee. Mr. Massacre.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to remove 21-00099, which is number 7 on page 6 from the consent agenda, please.
21-00079, you said?
21-0099, which is number 7 on page 6.
What committee is that?
It's FEC.
Okay. Any other items to be removed? Hearing none, let's open the vote on consent agenda section 1 minus 21-00099.
Please hold. Please continue to hold. The vote is now open. Will everyone please vote?
Ms. Shepherd, how do you, okay, Mr. Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
All votes are cast. Mr. Bond votes aye.
The vote is now closed. 14 yeas, 0 nays.
14 yeas, 0 nays. Consent agenda section 1 is adopted. The next items are consent agenda section 2. These items are on first read for the Atlanta City Council and will be referred to the committee as indicated, and they will follow that course. Now we go to the report of standing committees. The first we will have is Committee of the Whole for the purpose of hearing from Committee on Council, followed by a public hearing item for CDHS Committee. I'll entertain a motion to go into the Committee of the Whole.
So move, Matsakite.
Second.
Motion by Matsakite, second by Bond, to enter into Committee of the Whole. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's open the vote on entering the Committee of the Whole.
The vote is now open. Will everyone please vote?
Mr. Westmoreland? All votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. 14 yeas, 0 nays.
14 yes, 0 no. It is adopted. We are now in the Committee of the Whole. Mr. J.P. Matsakite, Chair of Committee on Council.
Thank you, Madam President. The Committee on Council doesn't have any business items today. However, we do have 3 public comments for a total of 8 minutes. So if we could go ahead and play those.
I am Brother Anthony Muhammad. I am a member of District 11. I call on Council on Committee. We have a commission on women to support the need to find resources to help the majority of citizenry in this city that has not affordable housing. At the time of the COVID-19, the majority of citizens, women and children, find themselves without economic empowerment. And I call on the city to be more sympathetic, be more sympathetic to this reality that our family tree has worked in Georgia for 400 years, suffered in Georgia ever since the Pilgrims began to come over, and you give the Pilgrims 1 billion acres of land, but you hadn't gave the carbonated person who was an ex-slave not 1 piece of land. You promised him 40 acres of land, they voted to take it away. Who did that? The Democratic Party. Andrew Jackson was the first president of the Democratic Party. For 8 years, Andrew Jackson said he didn't have no needs and no dark person. He didn't want to stop ex-slaves from being slaves. Boy, as you bring him along, you have a citizen that needs to force the council committee to help resolve a problem with a second thing. And this Overstreet district, they have 2 years to let the person stop. One don't have economic empowerment. A neighbor has a broken septic tank and literally it's coming out of the ground and it's going on back into the free-flowing stream. If you have disrespect according to the police department, they can't come on private property. But the Department of Water said you cannot put anything in a free-flowing stream, and you have a law. Why don't you find a way to use the law when it's beneficial for your constituents that look like you, Miss Keisha Lansbottom? Now, the Caucasian died in Venice Square. They have the right to speak out. They want protection while their families out shopping. And then there are other people that live with shop in that area. But what about the majority citizens of this city, the capital city of Georgia? A lot. We are the majority. And we are the majority. And I've been asking you for almost going in the second year to help this lady with it. So, find resources to help this senior, this resolution to a sewer problem.
Greetings to you members and staff of the City of Atlanta Committee on Council. And special greetings to you, citizens and voters of Atlanta, who are watching and are listening to your government in action and taking note of the degree to which public comment and civic engagement are heeded. Ben Howard, Senior Advocate, Public Policy Analyst. The APAB Committee on Council, now known as the APAB Committee on APAB, failed to meet on the third Saturday in February. I am publicly asking the Atlanta Planning Advisory Board leadership to ensure that the APAB Committee on APAB, aka APAB Committee on Council, meets on the third Saturday in March 20th. Of this committee, I ask the following. Please publicize the list of boards, commissions, and authorities which fall within the purview of the Committee on Council. It is said knowledge is power. If that be the case, let's empower Atlantans by making them aware of the various opportunities whereby they may implement their civic engagement aspirations. I submit that there are citizens who want to play a role in their government, if only they knew more about the available opportunities. This Committee on Council can further promote civic engagement by recommending that included in the public notice portion of each neighborhood planning unit agenda be a list of the city council and committee meetings for that month. Be advised, however, that trying to get anything promoting citizen participation on the NPUR agenda may be met with strong opposition by that NPUR 9, Vice Chair Anthony Robinson, Collis Clare, Ricardo Jacobs, Lynette L. Scott, Alfred White, Allison Hathaway, Jerry Williams, and the NPUR 9 cohorts, enablers, and supporters.
Okay. Thanks for taking my call. My name is James Davenport. First, giving honor to God, who I oftentimes call my conductor. I don't have a PhD, but I do have a GOD. As I said, I am James Davenport, president and founder of the Hitman Health Foundation. First, let me start off by saying that sadly we all acknowledging the fact that we lost a giant of a person in my dear friend, Vic Harun. And I do appreciate the fact that you all were mindful enough to actually be considerate enough to issue a proclamation for his unmatched work. That being said, as I mentioned to you, the full council, more than a month ago, that I was interested in asking you to be mindful of the fact that we are facing the potential of having millions of people who are going to be homeless nearing the end of this pandemic. Now, as we see as a model from DeKalb County, when they initiated their little $21 million trying to stamp out this situation ahead of time, and they did understand, and they saw quickly, which I knew, $21 million is not enough. One of the methods that they used, they actually called on several apartment complexes and called on several landlords. Then they found out that they were being overwhelmed in their application process via the internet. My concern, and in speaking with several of you on yesterday, is that would not be sufficient as far as contacting the people who are going to be affected, all of the people I mean. We need to conduct a grassroots effort. We need to conduct a census similar approach. We need to seek these people who do not have the access to the internet. We need to seek these people who don't have telephones because they lost their jobs and they can't afford to pay for a cell phone. A lot of people did not watch television. We will have to reach out to these people. Therefore, as I mentioned to several of you, including Madam President Felicia Moore, that the better thing to do is for us to start. So we're interested in doing just that, this grassroots effort. And if you all will call me, my phone number is 678-973-7355, 973-735544049.
All right. That concludes our public comment and concludes the business of Committee on Council. Back to you, Madam President.
All right. Thank you. I will now turn it over to the Honorable Matt Westmoreland, Chair of CDHS.
Thank you very much, Madam President. We have one item that is a public hearing, and I will say at the outset that at the end of our public comments, I'll be making a motion to refer this item back to committee, and that is an ordinance by council members Andre Dickens, Matt Westmoreland, Jennifer Ide, Amir Faroqi, Antonio Brown, Michael Julian Bond, and Joyce M. Shepard as substituted and amended by the Community Development and Human Services Committee to provide the regulation and taxation of short-term rentals within the city of Atlanta and for other purposes. And I will make a motion to enter into the public hearing.
Is there a second? Second by Dickens. Motion by Westmoreland to enter into the public hearing. Any objections or concerns? Hearing none. Let's open the vote on entering the public hearing.
Please hold. The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Mr. Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Overstreet?
Affirmative.
Ms. Shepard?
Yes.
Okay. All votes are cast with all members voting yes.
The vote is now closed. Populating vote. Populating vote. Yeas, 0 nays.
14 yeas, 0 nays. We are now in the public hearing. Proceed, Mr. Chair.
Thank you much. Mr. Massenberg, will you please play our sixth comment, totaling 13 minutes and 31 seconds?
Hello, my name is Carrie Horrocks. I am a resident of the city of Atlanta, and I live next door to a short-term rental. I was calling to voice my concern with the current legislation and the city's efforts to ban and or regulate short-term rentals, and I thought that it was prudent to give city council members some insight into what it's like to live next door to one of these short-term units. First, I did not sign up to live next door to a business, and allowing a hotel to operate next door circumvents zoning ordinances and greatly impacts me and my family. We have guests coming and going at all hours of the night, waking us up, carrying on and laughing. We have guests of the short-term rental loitering on our property, smoking on our property often. Guests of the short-term rental block our cars so that we cannot leave our property. They often stand and watch my young children playing in our backyard. We have no idea who is an authorized guest of the short-term rental and who is not. And living in the city, our cars get broken into often, so we are forced to investigate anyone unfamiliar who is in the back of our property accessing the short-term rental. We have had guests of guests on our property and blocking us in. We had a guest of a short-term rental climb on top of the hood of our car in order to throw their trash away in our trash can. We routinely have guests using our trash can. And
I guess in summary, this is materially negatively impacting the quiet enjoyment of our home and erodes the fabric of our neighborhoods here in Atlanta. I understand that there are people who see these as an asset and as a supplement to the hotels in the city, but the hotels follow rules, they pay taxes, they're zoned to be hotels, and these are not. There are legal implications of having a business in a residential neighborhood, and if any other business tried to open up next door, they would have lots of hoops to jump through the city and through approval from neighbors. And this short-term rental ordinance that's being considered by the city does nothing to protect the immediate neighbors of the short-term rental. I hope that the city deeply considers what it is like to be next door to one of these units. It is miserable and greatly impactful to the neighbors that are adjacent. Thank you.
This is Jack Hammond, Hammond, resident of Candler Park, 1429 McClendon Avenue, calling about the STR ordinance. I agree that the ordinance is needed. However, I don't think it goes far enough. There should be some element of neighbor input into the application process, similar to, but maybe not as far as a liquor license. I live next door to a whole house Airbnb, shared driveway, and an owner that lives in Brookhaven. I think that the city needs to track the number of Airbnbs that are out there and limit those that are not owner occupied, because I think they're going to ruin the character of neighborhoods in the city, and it's only going to get worse. Once again, Jack Hammond, 1429 McClendon, in support of the STR legislation ordinance, but I do think it needs to go further and add some community input. Bye.
Hello, this is Atlanta resident Rob Myers. Today I'm calling to provide constructive criticism on the ordinance, which is candidly toothless. Let me explain why. On February 18th, Airbnb conducted an online rally for local hosts to support the proposed ordinance and suggests that hosts call council with anecdotes of support. Airbnb supports the ordinance in its current form because they know it will not impact their bottom line. They know that the proposed ordinance will be impossible to enforce because the city doesn't have the data to track the many thousands of short-term rentals in the city. For example, the city's fee study for this ordinance had to estimate, and they estimated 1,000 to 6,000 rentals because accurate information is not available. That should be a red flag for council. In 2019, Wired magazine reported 10,000 short-term rentals listed in Atlanta across 54 different listing platforms. How many are there now? Simply put, only the listing platforms know. Council must demand the data, just like council did in Section 150-406 of the Dockless Electric Mobility Device Ordinance. Airbnb knows that in cities like Mountain View, California, where the city didn't require the data, only 1 in 14 short-term rentals were registered with the city. What percentage of voluntary registration does council expect in Atlanta? You have to demand the data because any regulation is unenforceable without it. Short-term rentals have a quiet side effect that we should also talk about. Short-term rentals displace residents, absorb housing that would be available to them, and drive up costs, which reduces affordable housing in the city. The next time you hear a story about people making money off their short-term rentals, remember that every rental not in someone's primary residence is removing housing from the residential market. It's irresponsible for a city that has put $100 million towards affordable housing to seriously consider an ordinance that will let the short-term rental industry cannibalize our housing market. There must be limits. There must be caps. Since a one-size-fits-all approach does not appear to be very popular, let each neighborhood decide how many short-term rentals they want. To minimize the impact on affordable housing while allowing short-term rentals, the ordinance should differentiate between primary and non-primary resident STRs. By definition, non-primary resident STRs are taking up usable housing for residents, while primary residence STRs can make better use of unoccupied rooms. To sum up, demand the data, set caps, enforce I'm asking you fix the ordinance because it is written to protect Airbnb and not Atlanta. Thank you.
Yes, hello, this is Scott Horrocks. I live in Candler Park and was calling to voice my concerns about the short-term rental legislation that is going through public comment tomorrow. Specifically, my concerns are that I feel like there is not enough input allowed for the most adjacent neighbors and most affected neighbors by short-term rentals. Me and my wife and my 3 children live in a house and we share a driveway with our neighbors, and they built a structure and now use it as a full-time Airbnb during the pandemic. They originally told us it would not be used as a short-term rental, and unfortunately that was not the case, and we feel like we have really no avenue to remedy the situation. It has been extremely burdensome for our family. There are people doing drugs on the property. There are people coming and going at all hours of the night. There are people that come up the driveway and stare at our children. There are people using our garbage cans, climbing on our cars, loitering on our property, so on and so on and so on. And it's concerning to me that the city of Atlanta doesn't have zoning laws in place to protect citizens like myself who have eased property and have no say in a business being open directly next to their property. Additionally, any other neighbors, I feel, should have the right to know what's going on in the neighborhood and have input into what businesses are being opened in the neighborhood. Surely if someone wanted to open a hotel in a neighborhood, there would be a very long approval process, and there would be neighborhood input, neighbor input, for any sort of business. And I don't really see how this is any different. So I would ask that there be some avenue for neighbors to have input in the certification process in lieu of just an outright ban, because I think that's really what's warranted. These things are destroying the fabric of our neighborhoods, and I think that they're a much bigger problem than the benefit of being able to stay in them occasionally. So those are my thoughts, and I hope you have a good hearing and have a nice rest of the weekend. Bye.
Greetings to you, council members and staff, and special greetings to you, citizens and voters of Atlanta, tuning in on this public hearing for Ordinance 20-0-1656, short-term rentals. In its critique of this legislation, HDL Neighbors renders the following as part of its comments. The proposal opines that the use of property as a short-term rental is a property right, but does not appear to be tracked for zoning review or NPU input. Please correct this process by circulating this legislation throughout the neighborhood planning unit and also have it reviewed by the Atlanta Planning Advisory Board so that we can all feel that it is official, certified, and vetted by the public.
Hello, my name is Keaton McEwen, and I am a Georgia State graduate and native Atlantan who first started renting a property in Peachtree Hills that was a quadplex, just rented 1 unit. And after living there for 8 years, we ended up being able to buy the house and staying in the neighborhood, me and my wife, that we now own the house, and we rent out 2 of the units on Airbnb and another unit to somebody who's lived there for going on almost 30 years now. He's a retired individual. So basically we used the amount of money that we get from Airbnb, which has been extremely successful in helping us pay for the home that we otherwise would not be able to afford to stay in because we'd be priced out. We originally were paying $1,150 in rent for a 2-bed, 1-bath, 900 square foot apartment in the middle of Buckhead, with perfect 9-foot ceilings. And by being able to stay there and afford the house, like I said, we've been able to allow our tenant Toby stay there for only $660 a month to live in Buckhead. So not only do we use the profits to help us pay for the house, that we are hopefully going to be able to combine one of the units with our unit to have a family and raise kids there. We provide a service for people coming to see friends at the Shepherd Center, and we only use Airbnb as kind of like a marketing tool where people can see that we have a property, and more often than not, we talk to them and they rent maybe like a weekend or two, and then they end up staying long term, and we just go off of Airbnb and do that. Airbnb is basically a marketing tool, and the fact that we would have to pay anything else to use it is that to share our home to help people be able to see their family members at, the Shepherd Center or the Piedmont, or just coming to Atlanta. It's a great way to share it. And the fact that we'd have to pay anything more to do it when it's never any parties. We live on the property. We police it. We'd never have any issues. And if we did, we would know about it. So yeah, that's all I really got back and ramble on. But it's Sunday. I can't believe I have to call on a Sunday. But thank you.
All right. I believe that concludes our public comment. Colleagues, the folks on CDHS already know this. We moved this forward because of a previously advertised public hearing that was scheduled for right now, which I will make a motion to close, and then I'm going to make a motion to refer this back to committee for a little bit more discussion and revisions. So
there's a second on the motion to close?
Or second, Dickens.
Okay, second by Dickens. Motion by Westmoreland to close the public hearing. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's open the vote on closing the public hearing.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Mr. Bond, how do you vote?
Yay.
All votes are cast. And just for the record, Ms. Shepherd has left the meeting.
Duly noted. The vote is now closed. Populating vote. 13 yeas, 0 nays.
13 yeas, 0 nays. We have left the public hearing. Mr. Westmoreland.
I will make a motion to refer this paper back to CDHS.
Second.
Motion by Westmoreland, second by Bond, to refer back to Community Development Human Services Committee. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's open the vote on the motion to refer.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Okay, Ms. Shepherd, Ms. Shepherd's gone. Mr. Hillis?
Yeah.
Mr. Hillis votes yay. All votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. Populating votes.
And the motion is to refer back to CDHS.
Noted. Populating votes. Yeas, 0 nays.
13 yeas, 0 nays. It is referred back to CDHS in the committee of the council. So, colleagues, I've got a request from Councilmember Archibald. She wanted to hear from Public Works regarding the solid waste schedule. If there's no objection, I will allow Ms. Archibald to do so. Hearing no objection.
No
Ms.
objection.
Archibald?
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Robinson, Deputy Commissioner Robinson, are you on the line?
If we could unmute him, please. Mr. Robinson? Okay. I'm being told that he's not on the line, Ms. Archibald.
What about Rita Braswell? He told me he would be on the line. Let's see. Is Rita Braswell on the line? Oh. Mr. Westmoreland said he needs to make an announcement, so let me see what's going on.
I do. May I do that, Madam President?
Go ahead.
Okay. So the Community Development and Human Services Committee is going to hold 2 public hearings next week as part of our conversations around the proposed Atlanta Beltline Special Services District. The first meeting will take place at the end of our regularly scheduled committee meeting, which starts at 1:30 p.m. on Tuesday, and then the second hearing will take place at 6 p.m. on Tuesday evening. The public can leave a comment regarding or for this public hearing by calling 404-330-6090 and can leave a message for up to 3 minutes between the hours of 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Archibald, I don't think anyone is online.
He said he doesn't have the dial-in number, so I'm about to get Mr. Massenberg to give me that. What's the dial-in number, Mr. Rob? Okay, while I am giving this information to Mr. Robinson, I just wanted to
Are you there, Ms. Archibald? Ms. Archibald? Okay. Looks like
I'm sorry, I got bounced off. Did I miss? Can I still talk, Mrs. Archibald?
Yes, we're waiting on you, and you kind of went away from us. Is he on the line?
Should be on there shortly, but just by way of context, this is a city utilities concern. I've received a number of concerns from citizens who are confused about the collection schedule. And so I wanted to use this opportunity to allow for DPW to explain the service delivery schedule that we believe will be for the next 90 days or so. And the confusion is around which cans to leave out, blue, green, when a yard sending's picked up, and that kind of thing. So I wanted to give them a chance.
Okay. I understand Miss Rita Braswell may be on.
Good afternoon, council members. Interim Deputy Commissioner Keith Robinson.
Good afternoon. Thank you for getting on the call. As I mentioned to you earlier, there have been a lot of confusion and concerns raised about the new collection schedule. So I wanted to ask you a few questions because I think the ambiguity is around the narrative or the description. So my first question for you is, when are the green trash cans serviced?
The green trash cans are serviced every week, which is your trash. So the green one is every week.
Okay. When are the blue cans serviced? Recycled?
That's the second and fourth week of a month.
All right, let me ask another question. So how do you determine the week? The question that's been asked of me is, are you looking at it starting on a Sunday or a Monday? And what if there are 5 Mondays in the month? What is a week? How do you start measuring that?
We start counting the week on the Sunday, which is the beginning of an actual week itself. And in the case of where there are a stiff week, which we don't believe there's a stiff week over the next 90 days, there should be no changes. So when we get to, in the case of a stiff week, hopefully we will be out of this posture within 90 days.
So looking at March itself, where there are 5 Mondays, you look at it as there are only 4 Sundays, and so
yeah.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So trash, the green cans every week, the recycling the second and the fourth week, and then yard trimming?
It's on the first and third week.
First and third week. All right. And bulk rubbish is still by appointment?
That is correct. And I believe where we are on bulk rubbish scheduling, I think we're in a place where we can do week scheduling.
Say that again. It was a little bit muffled.
For bulk, it's obviously scheduled by appointment. And we do have same week availability.
Okay, same week availability. Okay, and you're saying that this will be for the same 90-day period that you initially suggested when you first started this new schedule?
Yeah, and we said this is a minimum, but hopefully if COVID cases, if the department begins to stabilize, we hopefully can come out of this in 90 days.
Okay. And then
Go ahead.
Okay, my last question is relative to recycling. Initially, you said for super recyclers, they could request an extra bin, and now I understand that policy, or you have changed the availability of those extra cans. Can you explain that, please?
I'd have to check on that because I wasn't aware of that. We were changing that policy for the people who were making the bins available.
So I couldn't hear you because it was a little bit broken and muffled. What about the bins?
No, a super recycler can schedule for an extra bin pickup.
And they do that by calling 111, or how do they get that extra bin?
311.
Okay, for extra bins. Okay. Thank you very much, Interim Deputy Commissioner Robinson. Those were my questions, Council President Moore. I don't know if anyone else has any questions.
Mr. Faroki?
Yeah, I wanted to thank you, Madam President. I wanted to follow up on that last line of questioning from Councilor Archibald, because I did call through and wanted to ask for an extra bin, but was told it's I forget now, $70, $90 fee. And I'm curious if that's the case. There is a charge associated with it, or there are extra bins for those who may recycle.
If they specify as recycling, there should not be a fee.
Okay, well, that needs to be communicated to 301, because I called, I know a couple of my constituents called and were told there's a fee. So I'm not sure how you all communicate what to 301, but I would encourage you to do so.
Okay, I'll definitely do that. We're having an end-of-day meeting, probably about an hour, and I'll make sure that message gets the phone, just to double check on it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and this is our...
Wait a minute, hold on. Mr. Brown?
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to ask a quick question around the education or the dissemination of education around the recycling program. Where are we with that? Just because I know a lot of the folks in my district aren't as familiar with the program, and I'd love to see if we could really work on getting some information out there just to help educate them on the recycling program and or how to recycle and what to recycle.
No, absolutely. So we're working with our, Keep Atlanta Beautiful And we're looking at modifying some of the education programs that we have for different areas based off of the different demographics. So that's something that we're definitely working on right now. So that's definitely in the works. So we can continue to have those conversations as it relates to the pinpoint of the education that we're looking at, Councilman Brown.
Thank you so much, Deputy. Commissioner, I appreciate your work that you're doing.
Ms. Archibald?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry. I received a text from another council member, and their constituents also been told the same thing as Council Member Faroki has been told. So we really need to get that communication straightened out. And then the last point I wanted to make was the neighborhoods where you see the cans out on the wrong week. Particularly the blue cans. I hope that is something that your team is reporting back to Mr. Robinson so that you can make sure that next door or however you can speak to the public, that you make sure that those neighborhoods are well aware of the temporary scheduling. So can you do that?
Yeah, absolutely, we can do that. That's one of the things I've actually our route supervisors to pay close attention on the off weeks. If we see a lot of blue cans out, those are the neighborhoods I want to make sure that we continue to target real heavily as well as it relates to the the communication campaign.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome,
Mr. Bond. Mr. Bond.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Deputy Commissioner, for making yourself available. I just have a couple of questions, and I'll be very, very quick. One, we wouldn't be in this situation unless, if not for our employees, suffering from COVID-19. Can you give us an update on the staffing level, and how quickly do you think that many of these folks might recover and might be able to return to service?
Yeah, sure thing. Great question, Councilmember Bond. For the department to be fully staffed, we need a staffing level of 75% as it relates to the staffing levels. When we went to this, the alternating weeks, after the Super Bowl weekend, our call-out rate went down to 60%, which kind of raised the alarm, which it took a real quick nosedive. But one of the things is we're starting to see that our call-outs are starting to decrease. So now we're getting close to the 70% range on a steady basis. So we're starting to see a uptick in attendance, and we're seeing a reduced amount of call-out from the staff. The good news as well, too, is I think we're seeing some of the staff that's actually recovering as well, too. But we're actually increasing our campaigns to our employees as well, too, just making them even more aware about, COVID in the workplace, and we're kind of pushing forward on, some new initiatives as well, too. But just really just trying to educate our employees even more about COVID-19. That's one of the big challenges that we face with the department right now.
Okay, well, I'm glad that the attendance is coming up. We haven't had any tragedies or fatalities of our staff, have we?
No, we have not had any fatalities of the staff. No, thank God.
Oh, that's very good. Well, I want to ask you something else that's related but not related. There seems to be an inordinate amount of dumping and debris, pretty much everywhere around the city, particularly I see it in large areas around Southwest Atlanta and along some areas down in Southeast. But, we had a town hall meeting in Post 1 office about a week ago, and that was a constant complaint from people from every end of town about how much debris and trash there is just along the roadsides. Are you all going to hire or contract out, or any plans to contract out for additional vendors to help get up some of this dumping and refuse from around the city?
So one of the things that we're doing with the department right now, we're looking at restructuring how we structure our street team to really look at some of how we approach illegal dumping. And then we're also looking at strengthening some of our ties with the APD as well, too, as it relates to illegal dumping. Because one of the challenges that we face is once we go in and clean an area, folks come back right again and dump in the area as well too. So that's where the big challenge lies for the department, is really, honing back in on some of how we really address illegal dumping. So there's quite a bit that we'll be working towards in that area. I think that's one of the key areas and one of the top initiatives that we want to drive in the department is how do we tackle illegal dumping? That continues to be a major issue in the city.
Yeah, as I close out, I just wanted to comment the late, great Hank Aaron used to complain that on his street, Adams Drive, that they even dumped down there in the I think it's the 90-degree bend in the street. He said he could live anywhere in the world, and he had that consistent problem in probably one of the most affluent neighborhoods in Atlanta. So it's not just, in industrial areas or so-called low economic areas. It is everywhere. And anything that you all can do to stem the tide to help clean this city up, I can tell you, it just seems worse now than it's been in a long time. So I would appreciate hearing about your progress on that issue. But with that, I'll withdraw, Madam Chair. And thank you, Deputy Commissioner.
Mr. Brown?
Thank you, Madam President. Hey, Deputy Commissioner, I just want to piggyback on something Councilmember Bond said that my office is currently doing. And I'm not sure if this is in the purview of our individual offices to do so, but understanding a lot of the challenges that DPW faced, especially during the pandemic and with COVID-19, we've been looking at hiring a third-party vendor to come in and clean up the district and do trash removal and clean up the illegal dumping happening around the community. Is that something we have the capacity or authority to do within our individual council offices? And I'm not sure if maybe this is a law question, or I'm just curious.
Yeah, we'd have to get back to you on that question. I'd want to check with you.
Okay. No, that's fine. Yeah, I apologize. I just wanted to make sure I asked it before because Councilmember Bond just brought it up, and it just made me think whether or not we have the capacity as council members to do it.
Okay. No, thanks for the question. Thank you, Councilmember.
Anyone else? Okay, Ms. Archibald? I assume you're done, Ms. Archibald? I don't hear her, so I assume we're done. I will entertain a motion to exit committee of the whole.
So moved. Westmoreland.
I need a second. A motion by Westmoreland, second by Brown to exit committee of the whole. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's take the vote.
Please vote.
Please mute your phones if you're not talking. Please mute your phone.
Will everyone please vote?
Mr. Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Bond votes yes, and all votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. Populating vote. 13 yeas, 0 nays.
13 yeas, 0 nays. We have exited the committee of the whole. I will now entertain a motion to adopt in gross all actions taken in the committee of the whole.
So moved.
Second, Hillis.
Second by Hillis, motion by Bond to adopt in gross all actions taken in the committee of the whole. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's open the vote.
The vote is open. Everyone please vote.
Mr. Westmoreland. All votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. 13 yeas, 0 nays.
13 yeas, 0 nays. We have adopted and engrossed all actions taken in the committee of the whole. We will now go to our next standing committee, which will be Zoning Committee. The Honorable Amir Farouki, Chair.
Thank you, Madam President. Pull up the report. All right. You can find today's zoning committee report on page 22 of your agenda. We have one ordinance for second read. It's legislation number 20-0-1640, zoning case number Z-20-55, 1190, 1194, and 1200 McDonald Drive. An ordinance to rezone the parcels from R4A BL, single family residential Beltline overlay, to PD-H-BL, planned development housing Beltline overlay. This ordinance is favorable on substitute, and I move to approve it.
And the motion is to adopt. It is a second. Hearing none, let's open the vote.
Please hold. The vote is now open. Will everyone please vote?
Okay, Mr. Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Bond votes aye. All votes are cast.
Thank you. Item number 2.
Hold on.
The vote is now closed. Populating vote. Populating vote. 13 yeas, 0 nays.
13 yeas, 0 nays. It's adopted. Next item.
Items number 2 through 6 will be taken as a block. Item number 2 is 20-0-1683, zoning case number Z-20-80. Properties on the south side of Aaron Avenue between Alene Avenue and Hartford Avenue. An ordinance to rezone the parcels from R4, single family residential Beltline overlay, to R4A BL, single family residential Beltline overlay. Item number 3, 20-0-1723, zoning case number Z-20-76. A text amendment, an ordinance to amend the zoning code to regulate the development of transportation management plans in SPI 1, Downtown Special Interest District, SPI 9, Buckhead Village Special Public Interest District, SPI 12, Buckhead Lennox Station Special Public Interest District, and SPI 16, Midtown Special Public Interest District, to update, modify, and revise provisions. Item number 4, 20-0-1799, zoning case number Z-20-78, 277 and 295 Clifton Street. An ordinance to rezone the parcels from MR4B, multifamily residential, to MR4A, multifamily residential. Item number 5, 21-0-0033, zoning case number Z-20-79, 355 Auburn Avenue, 21, 25, 33, and 35 Hilliard Street, and 18 William Holmes Porter's Drive. An ordinance to rezone the parcels from HC20C SA3, MLK Junior Historic District Subarea 3, to HC-20C SA4, MLK Junior Historic District Subarea 4. Item number 6, 21-0-0106, 214 Warren Street. An ordinance to waive the subdivision code to acknowledge the parcel as 2 separate lots of record. These 5 items are taken as a block. The action is favorable. I move to approve them.
Move to adopt. Okay. There's a motion to adopt. There's no second needed. Any discussion? If not, let's open the vote, Mr. Clerk.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Mr. Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Bond votes aye. All votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. Populating vote. Thirteen yeas, 0 nays.
13 yeas, 0 nays. It's adopted. Next item.
Okay, next item is item number 7. Is taken as a single item. It is 20-0-1646, zoning case number Z-20-64, 552 Boulevard Place. An ordinance to rezone the parcel from R5BL, two-family residential beltline overlay, to RG3CBL, residential general sector 3, conditional beltline overlay. Motion to approve.
Motions to adopt. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's open the vote.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Mr. Bond?
Aye.
Mr. Bond votes aye. All votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. Populating vote. Thirteen yeas, 0 nays.
13 yeas, 0 nays. It is adopted. Mr. Chair?
Thank you. The next two items number 8 and 9, are taken as a block. Item number 8, 20-0-1647, zoning case number Z-20-65, 846, 852, 860, and 872 White Street. An ordinance to rezone the parcels from R4A HC20GBL, single family residential West End Historic District Beltline Overlay, to PDH HC20GBL, Planned Development Housing, West End Historic District Beltline Overlay. Item number 9, 21-0-0037, zoning case number U-20-18, 3714 Roswell Road. An ordinance to grant a special use permit to allow outdoor dining at an eating and drinking establishment located within 1,000 feet of property that is zoned R1 through R5 or property used as residential. Both these items are favorable as amended. Move to approve.
Motion is to adopt. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's open the vote.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Mr. Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Bond votes aye. All votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. Populating vote. Thirteen yeas, 0 nays.
13 yeas, 0 nays. It is adopted.
Item number 10 is taken individually. 18-0-1109, zoning case number U-18-03, 10th Street. An ordinance to grant a special use permit to allow a nightclub or lounge. The recommendation is to file, and I move to do so.
Okay, the motion is to file. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's open the vote on the motion to file.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Mr. Bond, how do you vote?
Aye. Aye.
Mr. Bond votes aye on the motion to file. All votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. Populating vote.
The motion is to file.
Thirteen yeas, 0 nays.
13 yeas, 0 nays. It is filed. Next item.
Next items are items 11 and 12 to be taken as a block. Item number 11, 21-R 3202, 300 Ponce de Leon Avenue. A resolution to extend the interim controls on the pending landmark designation of the Kodak building. Item number 12, 21-R 3203, 306 Ponce de Leon Avenue. A resolution to extend the interim controls on the pending landmark designation of the Atlanta Eagle building. Recommendation is favorable. Move to approve these two resolutions.
Motion is to adopt. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's open the vote on the motion to adopt.
Please vote. The vote is now open. Will everyone please vote?
Mr. Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Bond votes aye. All votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. Populating vote. 13 yeas, 0 nays.
13 yeas, 0 nays. It is adopted.
Okay, then the last vote we'll take is ordinances for first read, which will refer to ZRB and Zoning Committee, and I'll read these 4 items as a block. Item number 13, 21-0-0117, zoning case number Z-21-07, 3330 Piedmont Road, an ordinance to rezone the parcel from SPI 9 SA4 Buckhead Village Special Public Interest District to SPI 9 SA4 Buckhead Village Special Public Interest District for a change of conditions. Item number 14, 21-0-0118, zoning case number Z-21-08, 1397 Campbellton Road, an ordinance to rezone the parcel from MRC1C, mixed residential commercial conditional, to MRC1C, mixed residential commercial conditional for a change of conditions. Item number 15, 21-0-0119, zoning case number Z-21-15, 306 Ponce de Leon Avenue, an ordinance to designate the Atlanta Eagle building as a landmark building site pursuant to Chapter 20 of the zoning ordinance. Item number 16, 21-0-0120, zoning case number Z-21-16, 300 Ponce de Leon Avenue, an ordinance to designate the Kodak building as a landmark building site pursuant to Chapter 20 of the zoning ordinance. Again, these 4 items are to be treated as a block and to refer to ZRB and Zoning Committee. And if we need a motion to do so, I so move.
No motion needed. You're on first read, and they will follow that course. Anything else from your committee?
That concludes the Zoning Committee's report. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Faroki. Now we move to Transportation Committee. The Honorable Andre Dickens, Chair.
Council President, I was that meeting was chaired by Council Member Overstreet, so I think it's the typical.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Let's let that take its course.
So the Honorable Marcy Overstreet, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Council President and Chair Dickens. The Transportation Committee does not have a report for today.
Thank you. Very good work. Now we move on to City Utilities Committee. The Honorable Madeline Archibald, Chair.
Thank you. I want to go star 2. We do not have a committee report.
Well, you get one as well. Very good work. Thank you, City Utilities Committee. Now we move Community Development Human Services Committee. The Honorable Matt Westmoreland, Chair.
We do not have a report today.
Very good. Thank you very much. We now go to, I think, is that it? Public Safety, Legal Administration. The Honorable Dustin Hillis, standing in for our Chair, Ms. Joyce Shepard.
Thank you, Madam President. We have one item. This is a charter amendment, so we're going to read and adopt, and then I believe hold in the breast of council. 21-0-0107, an ordinance by Council Members Andre Dickens and Joyce M. Shepard to amend the charter of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, adopted under and by virtue of the authority of the Municipal Home Rule Act of 1965, OCGA section cited, as amended by amending Part 1, Subpart A, Appendix 4, Section 3, so as to designate the two youth-serving organizations who shall each appoint a member to serve on the Atlanta Citizen Review Board, who shall be between the ages of 18 and 30 at the time of the appointment and for other purposes. The motion is to adopt, and I believe this is the second.
All right, let's take the motion separately. We'll do the motion to adopt, but typically with the charter amendment, it would go back to committee and then come back to council. So the first motion on the floor is to adopt. Any discussion on the motion to adopt? Hearing none, let's open the vote on the motion to adopt.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote on the first adopt?
Mr. Bond?
Aye.
Mr. Bond votes aye. All votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. Populating votes, 13 yeas, 0 nays.
13 yeas, 0 nays. Is adopted. Mr. Hillis?
Thank you. Yes, Madam President. So legal advised that it did not have to go back to committee, but of course, I guess up to you and the parliamentarian as to how this usually works, whether it can be held on the rest of council or if it needs to go back to committee.
Well, I just know what we've done in the past. If you want, you take your choice, unless I don't hear from the parliamentarians that it matters either way. Hold on one second. He is talking now. Hold on. Would you, it'll automatically go back to committee, Mr. Hillis.
Okay.
Unless there's some objection, but it should go straight back to committee and come back on the floor for the final adoption. Okay?
Sounds good. And that was all the items, but I do have an announcement.
Okay.
This Thursday, March 4th, at 1 p.m., the Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee will host a remote work session for the administration to continue discussions on proposed criminal justice reforms and plans to repurpose the Atlanta City Detention Center. And this is the third of 3 work sessions that have been scheduled to evaluate the potential closure of ACDC, and the notice of this public access information has been posted on the City Council's webpage. Thank you.
Thank you. We now go to our next committee, and that one would be Finance Executive Committee, I believe. We have not done yet.
Thank you, Madam President.
The Honorable Jennifer I. Chair. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Honorable Jennifer I. Chair. Go ahead.
The first item I have is the item that was removed from consent. It is 210-0099, and on your consent agenda, that was item number 7 on page 6. It is an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the Chief Financial Officer on behalf of the City of Atlanta to create a consolidated trust fund, which will combine the tennis center's trust accounts as indicated herein and for other purposes. And after Finance Executive Committee passed it, I had some members who said they actually had some additional questions, so they asked that I make a motion to send it back to committee.
Okay, is there a second?
It is.
Second, Matt Sky.
Second by Massacite. Motion by I to refer back to Finance Executive Committee. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's open the vote on the motion to refer.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Mr. Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Bond votes aye. All votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. Populating votes. Thirteen yeas, 0 nays.
13 yeas, 0 nays. It's referred back to the Finance Executive Committee. Madam Chair?
Thank you. The next item is 21C0020, which is a communication from Danielle Hampton, the chair of the Audit Committee, submitting the performance audit report on controls over CARES Act and FEMA funding in response to COVID-19. The recommendation out of committee was to accept and file.
Motion is to accept and file. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's open the vote on accepting and filing.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Mr. Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Bond votes aye. All votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. Populating votes. Thirteen yeas, 0 nays.
13 yeas, 0 nays. It is accepted and filed. Next item.
The next item is 21R3030, which is a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor or designee to exercise renewal number 2 of Cooperative Purchasing Agreement FC9726 Wireless Communication Devices and Voice and Data Services with Verizon Wireless Services, LLC, on behalf of the Department of Atlanta Information Management for a term of 1 year effective January 31st, 2021 through January 30th, 2022, in an amount not to exceed $3,405,795.85. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from funding numbers listed herein and for other purposes. This item needed to be an ordinance as the contract was expired, and so the recommendation was to file.
Okay, the motion is to file. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's open the vote on the motion to file.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Mr. Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Bond votes aye. All votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. Populating votes. Thirteen yeas, 0 nays.
13 yeas, 0 nays. It is filed.
Thank you. The next item is 21R3205, a resolution by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the Chief Procurement Officer to execute Amendment Number 2 with the appropriate documents to modify Sole Source Agreement FC8910 PSSI Response CAD System Support and Maintenance Services to substitute TriTech Software Systems, Inc. for Public Safety Systems, Inc. as a party to the agreement, and to authorize the Chief Financial Officer to pay outstanding invoices to TriTech Software Systems, Inc. for services rendered during the term of the agreement in an amount not to exceed $184,697.81 on behalf of the Department of Aviation, Atlanta Fire Rescue Department, and Atlanta Police Department. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from the funds department, organization, and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. And at the request of the administration, the recommendation was to file.
Okay, the motion is to file. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's open the vote on the motion to file.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Mr. Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Bond votes aye. All votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. Populating vote. Yeas, 0 nays.
13 yeas, 0 nays. The motion to file has been adopted.
That is the last of my legislative items, but I do have two announcements. The first is that the City of Atlanta tentatively plans to adopt a millage rate, which will require an increase in property taxes for the taxable real property located in the proposed Atlanta Beltline Special Service District, the SSD, of up to 2.5 mils. A third public hearing will be held at the end of next Wednesday's FEC meeting on March 10th. The public may leave a comment regarding this public hearing by dialing 404-330-6090. Messages are not to exceed 3 minutes and will be accepted between the hours of 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. on the day before the hearing. So that means that it is Tuesday, March 9th, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. that you can leave public comment for the Wednesday, March 10th FEC meeting, where the public hearing will be held at the close of that meeting. The next item is to all of my colleagues that we are working on the fiscal year 2022 budget priorities. So please, if you have not sent me your request to be included in the budget priority legislation, please do that as soon as possible. The legislation was substituted last week at our FEC meeting to add a few additional items, and it's going to move forward with no recommendation to full council for adoption at our March 15th meeting. If you get them to me before next week's FEC, we can substitute or amend there. But your last chance will be at the March 15th meeting to get your request included in within our budget priorities before it goes to the mayor. And that's the close of my committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And now we will go to our papers for immediate consideration. First is Mr. Brown.
Thank you so much, Madam President. I know we just had an update to my immediate paper. I haven't got the revisions back yet. Could we move to Councilmember Archibong's immediate paper and then I'll follow?
Okay, Ms. Archibong.
Thank you very much. And our papers are similar, but different. So I will read mine, and I invite any colleagues who would like to join to let me know. A resolution by Councilmember Nadalyn Archibong, and the ELMS number is 23555. 23555. A resolution to express the City of Atlanta's opposition to any legislation under consideration by the Georgia General Assembly during its 2021 regular session, which proposes to take any action which would restrict voter access of Georgia citizens, limit Georgia citizens' ability to exercise their fundamental right to vote, or would otherwise act to suppress the votes of Georgia citizens and for other purposes. Whereas, during its 2021 regular session, the Georgia General Assembly is considering several bills which would restrict voter access of Georgia citizens, would limit Georgia citizens' ability to exercise their fundamental right to vote, and would otherwise act to suppress the votes of Georgia citizens. And whereas proposed legislation under consideration by the Georgia General Assembly, which, if passed, would act to suppress the votes of Georgia citizens, includes but is not limited to bills that would limit the early voting period, including limiting early voting on Sundays, prohibit persons from giving food or water to people standing in line to vote, limit access to and availability of secure ballot drop boxes, limit the use of mobile voting facilities, and that would require provisional ballots cast in the wrong precinct to be thrown out. And whereas proposed voter suppression legislation under consideration by the Georgia General Assembly also includes, but is not limited to, bills that would eliminate or excuse absentee voting and empower the state to remove local election officials from their posts. And whereas the passage of voter suppression laws will work to undermine the state of Georgia's election system effectiveness, and whereas even in the midst of the global COVID-19 pandemic, which thus far has cost more than 500,000 lives in the United States, including more than 16,000 in the state of Georgia, the 2020 primary and the general elections and Senate runoff saw record turnout largely because Georgia citizens have, since 2005, been allowed to vote by mail, a secure and undoubtedly, during the pandemic, the safe way to exercise the right to vote. And whereas the General Assembly is considering these voter suppression measures, though the state's current election system enabled larger voter turnout during its most recent elections in the midst of a pandemic, and despite the fact that there has been absolutely no evidence of any widespread voter fraud in either the 2020 general election or the Senate runoff, and whereas the passage of voter suppression laws will work to reduce the state of Georgia's business competitiveness, and whereas the state of Georgia traditionally is an epicenter for job growth, economic development, and investment, and has been named the top state for doing business for the second year in a row by the executive publication Area Development, and whereas the state of Georgia rankings reflect its commitment to efforts to attract corporations considering relocation, and whereas the state of Georgia is also committed to hosting large events such as the Super Bowl, college football playoff, and the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, and whereas the reputation as a state that would suppress the votes of its citizens will impact Georgia's desirability as a destination for persons and companies considering relocation and as a host to major events, and where additionally the passage of these voter suppression laws would be fiscally irresponsible, as many other provisions of the current voter suppression bills will require the various counties and election boards to incur additional costs to conduct the elections, yet these bills do not provide any additional funding to support these cost increases. And whereas to saddle local jurisdictions and officials with the burden of new unfunded mandates may lead to an increase in local taxes and would be fiscally irresponsible, especially as our state works to emerge from the economic devastation caused by COVID-19. And whereas the passage of voter suppression laws will work to undermine the state of Georgia's election system effectiveness, will work to reduce the state of Georgia's business competitiveness, and would be fiscally irresponsible. And whereas for these reasons, and because of its legacy as the cradle of the civil rights movement, the epicenter for the movement from which leaders such as Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., John Lewis, Andrew Young, C.T. Vivian, Joseph E. Lowry, Joseph Boone, and Julian Bond fought for voting across the public facilities and institutions and economic and educational opportunities for Black Americans, it is the desire of the city of Atlanta to declare its total to any legislation under consideration by the Georgia General Assembly during the 2021 regular session, which proposed to take any action which would restrict voter access of Georgia citizens, limit Georgia citizens' ability to exercise their fundamental right to vote, or would otherwise suppress the votes of Georgia citizens. The City Council of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, hereby resolves that the City of Atlanta opposes any legislation under consideration by the Georgia General Assembly during its 2021 regular session, which proposes to take any action which would restrict voter access of Georgia citizens, limit Georgia citizens' ability to exercise their fundamental right to vote, or would otherwise act to suppress the votes of Georgia citizens. Be it further resolved that all resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith are hereby waived to the extent of the conflict. Be it finally resolved that the clerk of the council is hereby instructed to immediately transmit an official copy of this resolution to the members of the Georgia General Assembly and to Georgia Governor Brian Kemp. My motion is to adopt.
second. Brown, second.
Motion is to adopt, and I just want to make sure I have several people's names. Mr. Brown, Miss Ide, Miss Overstreet, Mr. Faroki, Mr. Dickens, Mr. Westmoreland, Miss Smith, and Miss Boone. And for the staff, I will read that again. Names that will need to be added are Mr. Bond, Mr. Brown, Miss Ide, Miss Overstreet, Mr. Faroki, Mr. Dickens, Mr. Westmoreland, Miss Smith, and Miss Boone. Are there any other names to be added? If you can make that motion. Who else?
Hillis.
We also are adding Hillis.
Duly noted.
All right. Madam Archibong, if you could make that motion to add those names.
So moved, Madam President.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second, Brown.
Second by Brown, motion by Archibong. If there's no objection on unanimous consent, those names will be added. I have Miss Overstreet as a speaker. Miss Overstreet.
Oh, yes, that was just to pledge my support and be added to the legislation. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. And now we'll have to take you gave a motion to adopt? Yet?
Yes, I did, and it was seconded.
Who was the seconder?
Mr. Brown.
Okay, second by Brown, motion by Archibong to adopt. Let's open the vote, Mr. Clerk.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Mr. Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Bond votes aye. All votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. Populating vote. Thirteen yeas, 0 nays.
13 yeas, 0 nays. It is adopted. Do you have any other items, Ms. Archibong?
No, I do not. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. So we will go in this order. Ms. Overstreet, Mr. Massacide, Ms. Ide, Mr. Faroki, Mr. Brown, Mr. Bond, and Ms. Boone. So we'll start with Ms. Overstreet.
Madam President, my apologies. I'm ready with my immediate paper.
Okay, well, we will go in that order after Mr. Brown's immediate paper. Mr. Hillis, did you have something before we go to his immediate paper?
Yeah, I'm just, I don't know if you have the most recent list that Santana sent out, but I have the paper for introduction as well.
Okay, you will be last. Okay? So let's go to the immediate one from Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown.
Thanks so much, Madam President. Elms number 23553, a resolution by council members Antonio Brown, Madeline Mosby Archibong, Andre Dickens, Andrea L. Boone, Amir R. Faroki, Dustin Hillis, Jennifer N. Ide, Marcy Collier Overstreet, Carla Smith, and Matt Westmoreland, a resolution to oppose HB 531 and any actions of the Georgia General Assembly to impose greater restrictions on voting, absentee by mail to reduce the number of early voting days, to eliminate or reduce Saturday or Sunday voting, or otherwise limit the voting options of Georgia citizens and for other purposes. Whereas Georgia was the first state in the country to implement the trifecta of automatic voter registration, at least 16 days of early voting, which has been called the golden standard in no excuse absentee voting. And whereas the state of Georgia currently allows absentee voting by mail and in person, and no excuse is required to vote before election day. And whereas Georgia law allows for absentee by mail ballots to be requested up to 180 days before an election, and absentee ballot applications can be returned by mail, fax, email, or in person to the local county board of registers office. And whereas Georgia continues to set records for voter turnout and election participation, seeing the largest increase in average turnout of any other state in the 2018 midterm election and record turnout in 2020, with over 1.3 million absentee by mail voters. And whereas a statewide hand recount of ballots in Georgia reaffirmed the initially voted tally, and a machine recount of ballots also reaffirmed the original vote tally. And whereas a ballot signature match audit in Cobb County ordered by the Georgia Secretary of State found no fraudulent absentee ballots with a 99% confidence threshold, thereby validating that Georgia's signature match process was secure. And whereas on January 5th, 2021, the Secretary of State affirmed that all 159 counties provided to the state the total votes tabulated for each state and federal candidate, and that the statewide consolidated returns for state and federal offices are true and correct tabulations of the certified returns received by this office from each county. Whereas a joint statement from the Elections Infrastructure Government Coordinating Council and the Election Infrastructure Sector Coordinating Executive Committees declared the November 3rd, 2020 election the most secure in American history, and that there is no evidence that any voting system deleted or lost votes, changed votes, or was in any way compromised. And whereas because no claims of widespread voting irregularities of any kind have been substantiated despite extraordinary and intense scrutiny, legislative efforts to impose greater restrictions on voting absentee by mail to reduce the number of early voting days, to eliminate or reduce Saturday or Sunday voting, or otherwise limit the voting option of Georgia citizens in any other way, appear designed to discourage participation under the pretext of enhancing election security. And whereas maintaining low barriers to absentee by mail voting allows more people to securely vote in the manner most convenient for them, and no excuse absentee voting reduces both polling sight lines and the administrative burden on election officials associated with in-person voting, thereby decreasing the total cost of administering elections. And whereas any effort by the Georgia General Assembly to reduce the ability of Georgians to cast ballots absentee by mail would create burdens for voters and infringe on their fundamental right to cast ballots for the candidates of their choice. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, that the City of Atlanta opposes Georgia House Bill 531 and any action of the Georgia General Assembly to impose greater restrictions on voting absentee by mail, to reduce the number of early voting days, to eliminate or reduce Saturday or Sunday voting, or otherwise limit the voting options of Georgia citizens. Be it further resolved that all resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith or are hereby waived to the extent of the conflict, and be it finally resolved that the clerk of the council is hereby instructed to immediately transmit an official copy of this resolution to the members of the Georgia General Assembly and to Georgia Governor Bryant P. Kemp. Madam President, I motion to approve.
Okay, and there is a request of Mr. Bond to add his name. Are there any other people who want their names added?
I second it.
Okay, second by Ms. Overstreet. Anyone other than Mr. Bond whose name wants to be added? Okay, Mr.
That was Archibald.
Excuse me?
I think that was Archibald who seconded the legislation.
I'm sorry. Okay, Ms. Archibald is the seconder of Mr. Brown's paper. Anyone else's name? If not Mr. Brown, can I get a motion to amend to add Mr. Bond's name as the sponsor?
So moved, Madam President.
Is there a second? Second by who?
Westmoreland.
Second by Westmoreland. If there's no objection, on unanimous consent, we will add Mr. Bond's name as the sponsor. The motion is to adopt. Motion by Brown, second by Archibald. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's open the vote.
The vote is open. Currently, unanimous consent is 13 members present, 13 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. How do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Bond votes aye. All votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. Thirteen yeas, 0 nays.
13 yeas, 0 nays. It is adopted. Mr. Brown?
Madam President, I just wanted to inform this body that the bill that we just voted to put forward a resolution in addressing with the Georgia General Assembly just passed the House. And the House voted 97 to 72 on the sweeping elections bill supported by the Republicans within the House to impose new voting requirements within the state of Georgia. So I just thought it was imperative that as much as I appreciate my colleagues' support of these resolutions brought forth today, and to Theo Pace, our council staff director, whose team did an amazing job compiling these resolutions. They did pass this bill in the House, and now it will wait to go to crossover day in the Senate. So I'm hoping that that we can ensure that these resolutions are presented to the Senate, the state Senate, and maybe they can reverse the turn of this voter suppression that's happening right now in Georgia.
Thank you. Any more items for immediate consideration? Hearing none, now we will go to items to be referred, starting with Ms. Overstreet.
Wonderful. Thank you, Council President. My first paper is, oh goodness, I don't see the ELMS number on here. I'll move on to the next one. ELMS number 23556. And it's an ordinance by Council members Marcy Collier Overstreet and Andrea L. Boone, an ordinance authorizing the mayor or her designee to install security cameras at the McGee Tennis Center utilizing park improvement funds and for other purposes.
That is 23556 to CDHS.
And I don't see the ELMS number on this one, but I'll read it in. It's an ordinance by Council members Marcy Collier Overstreet, Andrea L. Boone, and Michael Julian Bond, an ordinance authorizing the mayor or her designee to install security cameras at the Cascade Springs Nature Preserve utilizing park improvement funds and for other purposes.
Okay, that is 23544 to CDHS.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Massacite, followed by Ms. Hyde.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A resolution by Councilmember J.P. Matsakite authorizing the mayor or her designee to exercise renewal number 2 for FC 9112, external financial audit services with KPMG LLP on behalf of the Office of the City Auditor for a term of 1 year effective August 15, 2021 through August 14, 2022. In an amount not to exceed $1,699,050.94. All contracted work
please mute your phones, members.
Paid from the department, organization, and account listed for other purposes.
Okay. I would just ask all members, please mute your phone. Please mute your phones if you are not talking. And that is ELMS number 23530 to Finance Executive Committee.
And then I have ELMS number 23564, which is an ordinance by Councilmember J.P. Matsakite authorizing a donation in the amount not to exceed $10,000
from the Council District 8 carry forward account to the Atlanta Police Foundation Operation Shield to assist the Ardmore Park project with the purchase of a license plate reader camera and a PTZ quad camera and for other purposes. And those are my papers.
All right, 23564, the Finance Executive. Thank you. Ms. I, followed by Mr. Faroki. Ms. I, you may be muted.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I hear you now. Yes,
It is Elm 23557, an ordinance by Councilmember Jennifer N. Ide authorizing the mayor or her designee to install traffic calming devices on Rockledge Road Northeast to waive certain provisions of Section 138-84D of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and for other purposes.
Okay, that is 23557 to Transportation Committee.
All right, the next one is 23558. It is an ordinance by Councilmember Jennifer N. Ide authorizing the mayor or her designee to install traffic calming devices on South Ponce de Leon Avenue between Lowwater Creek and Clifton Road Northeast, south side of Shady Side Park, to waive certain provisions of Section 138-84D of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and for other purposes.
23558 to Transportation Committee.
And the last one is Elm 23554, which is a resolution by Councilmember Jennifer N. Ide authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to refund customers for overpayments to water and sewer accounts in an amount of blank, all funds to be charged to and paid from Fund Department Organization and account number 5051, Water and Wastewater Revenue Fund 00001, balance sheet default 1226009, fund refund payable and for other purposes.
23554 to Finance Executive Committee.
And I think that's all I had.
All right, Mr. Faroki, followed by Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Madam President. The first is Elms number 23560, an ordinance by Councilmember Amir Faroki to waive Atlanta City Code Section 15-08.005D2 of the subdivision ordinance of the City of Atlanta and Atlanta City Code Section 16-06B.007.1 of the zoning ordinance of the City of Atlanta for the purpose of allowing 3 single-family homes at 637 Willoughby Way and for other purposes.
Okay, that is 23560 to Zoning and ZRB.
Thank you. Elms number 23547, an ordinance by Councilmember Amir Faroki authorizing the mayor or her designee on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation to amend contract FC 9034 on street parking management services with SP Plus all-in-one joint venture to provide that until the city is in phase 5 of the mayor's phase reopening plan in lieu of the minimum annual revenue guarantee set forth in the agreement, payments to the city of Atlanta shall be based upon a revenue sharing agreement under which the city receives 80% of the net profits and the service provider receives 20% of the net profits, to provide that the amendment to the agreement will be retroactively effective as of January 1, 2020, and for other purposes.
23547 to Transportation Committee.
And finally, Elms number 23548, a resolution by Councilmembers Amir Faroki and Carl Smith to accept and adopt an official justice reforms plan, which is focused on stopping over-incarceration and finding real solutions to equity in our justice system, and contains the final policy and operational decisions necessary to make the City of Atlanta safer, more equitable, and to accomplish the ultimate closure of the Atlanta City Detention Center within the next 15 months and for other purposes.
23548 to Public Safety Legal Administration Committee.
Thank you. That's all I have.
All right. So now we will go to Mr. Brown, followed by Mr. Bond.
Thank you so much, Madam President. An ordinance by Councilmember Antonio Brown authorizing the transfer of $30,000.00 from the Council District 3 carry forward account to the Council District 3 distribution account to continue serving the Atlanta community for the public good and for other purposes.
23561 to Finance Executive Committee.
Thank you, Madam President.
Yes, Mr. Bond, followed by Ms. Boone. Mr. Bond.
Sorry,
You may be, you were muted.
Yeah.
Huh?
Been reading right away. A resolution by council members Michael Julian Bond, Howard Shook, Dustin Hillis, and J.P. Mazikite, a resolution to establish a City of Atlanta, Fulton County Joint Committee consisting of representatives from the City of Atlanta and Fulton County to develop a framework to assist the Fulton County Sheriff with severe overcrowding at the Fulton County Jail and for other purposes.
That is number
23563.
23563, the Public Safety Legal Administration Committee.
Thank you, Madam President.
Okay, Ms. Boone, you're welcome. Ms. Boone, you may be muted.
Andrea Boone.
Okay, we hear you now. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. An ordinance by Council members Andrea Boone and Cleta Winslow, an ordinance authorizing the transfer of $30,000.00 from the Council District 4 carry forward account to the Council District 4 expense account and for other purposes. Elms number 23562.
23562, the Finance Executive Committee.
Next item, an ordinance by Councilmember Andrea Boone, an ordinance authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to amend the FY 2021 Capital Asset Finance Fund budget by adding to anticipations and appropriations in the amount of $7,760,000.00 to be used for the acquisition of equipment for the Atlanta Management Information Department and the Department of Human Resources and the Atlanta Department of Transportation and the Department of Parks and Recreation and the Police Department and the Atlanta Fire Rescue and the Department of Finance and the Department of Enterprise Assets Management and for the Mayor's Office pursuant to 2008 Master Lease and Option Agreement between the City of Atlanta and for the Georgia Municipal Association and for other purposes. Elms number 23552.
23552, the Finance Executive Committee.
Next item, a resolution by Councilmember Andrea Boone, a resolution authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute an agreement for IFB-S 1210076 yard debris processing, hauling, and diversion programs with Tag Grinding Services, Inc. on behalf of the Department of Public Works for an initial term of 3 years for 2 one-year renewal options in an amount not to exceed $88,000.00 annually. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. Elms number 23559.
23559 to City Utilities Committee.
Next item, an ordinance by Councilmember Andrea Boone, an ordinance authorizing the mayor or her designee on behalf of the City of Atlanta to enter into Amendment Number 1 of Agreement EA-S-12000569 COVID-19 Emergency Rental Assistance Program Administration Services Agreement with United Way of Greater Atlanta, Inc. on behalf of the Department of Grants and Community Services to extend the term through December 31st, 2021, and to add funding for continued emergency rental assistance to residents of the City of Atlanta to be funded by the U.S. Department of Treasury Emergency Assistance, ERA funds, in an amount not to exceed $15,255,435.20 and for other purposes. Elms number 23549.
23549 to CDHS Committee.
Last item, an ordinance by Councilmember Andrea Boone, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2021 CARES Act 2508, fund budget by adding to anticipations and appropriations the proceeds of the U.S. Treasury Emergency Rental Assistance Grant Agreement in the amount of $15,255,435.20 for the 2021 Emergency Rental Assistance Program 2021 ERA grant and for other purposes. Elms number 23549.
2355, is that one is 550? Or 9 was the...
I have 23549. We may need to check that one.
Okay, the staff can check because I have 49 as the amendment of the agreement, and I have the adding and anticipations and appropriation as 50, but the staff will sort that out, and that goes to CDHS committee.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Let's see, now we will go to Mr. Hill, followed by Ms. Smith and Ms. Archibald.
Thank you, Madam President. I have one item, Elms ID 23565, an ordinance by Councilmember Dustin Hillis authorizing the mayor or her designee to install traffic calming devices on Woods Drive Northwest between Donnelly Holloway Parkway Northwest and Baker Road Northwest in order to reduce speeding, to waive certain provisions of Section 138-84D of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and for other purposes.
Okay. 23565, the Transportation Committee.
Thank you.
Ms. Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair, or Madam President. Elms number 23545, an ordinance by Councilmember Carla Smith authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute a cooperative purchasing agreement with Everbridge Mass Notification and Emergency Alert Systems with Everbridge, Inc., utilizing General Services Administration contract number listed for an initial term retroactively effective beginning November 1st, 2020 through July 18th, 2022, with 2 one-year renewal options in an amount not to exceed $136,070.00 for the purchase of Everbridge Aware Incident Notification Solution and maintenance and support on behalf of the Department of Atlanta Information Management, the Department of Customer Service, the Atlanta Police Department, and the Department of Aviation, and to ratify services rendered by Everbridge, Inc. beginning November 1st, 2020, in accordance with the sections listed here. Elms number 23546, an ordinance by Councilmember.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. 23545, the one you just read, I assume?
Mm-hmm.
And that goes to Finance Executive Committee. Now you can go to the next one.
Elm 23546, an ordinance by Councilmember Carla Smith in accordance with sections listed, City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, to execute cooperative purchasing agreements with Kronos Workforce Management Systems, Kronos Incorporated, to purchase Kronos hardware and software maintenance and support services for the City of Atlanta's time and attendance system and telestaff upgrade for a term not to exceed 1 year retroactively effective July 29, 2020 to July 28, 2021, with 2 one-year renewal term options, and ratify services rendered on behalf of the Department of Atlanta Information Management and Atlanta Fire Services in an amount not to exceed $438,906.80. All contracted work shall be charged to and paid from funding numbers listed herein, subject to and expressly contingent upon adoption and approval of the fiscal year 2021 budget and for other purposes.
23546, the Finance Executive Committee.
That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Archibald, yours, that's still on my list. I think you did that for immediate consideration. Is that correct? I think she did it on immediate consideration. Any other papers to be referred? Hearing none, we're now at general remark. Anyone have any general remarks? Hearing none, we now will go to the adjourning roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Today's meeting was held in accordance with OCGA 50-14-1. The adjourning roll call, Council President Felicia A. Moore.
Present.
Council members Michael Julian Bond.
Aye.
Matt Westmoreland.
Here.
Andre Dickens.
Here.
Carla Smith.
Here.
Amir Faroki.
Here.
Antonio Brown.
Here.
Cleta Winslow. Madeline Mosby Archibald. Jennifer N. Ide.
Here.
Howard Shook. J.P. Massacite. Dustin Hillis.
Here.
Andrea L. Boone.
Present.
Marcy Collier Overstreet.
Present.
Joyce M. Shepard. Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam President, this is J.P. Massacite. I apologize. I was temporarily knocked off.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, please mark him present.
Duly noted.
Okay. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Bond. Is there a second?
Second, Hill.
Second by Hillis. Any discussion? If not, we stand adjourned on unanimous consent of members present. Thank you for a good meeting. Have a good day and be safe.